hear from the other one, and I don't have access to the actual stream
Ah.
channel.
We can't drag people into stream either, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why the perms are set up different for stream, but like private, we can just abduct people.
Maybe Doug
Well-
just slipped up.
Well, he
Mm.
gave me access to this explicitly while I was streaming content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess Santo can come in with the Bay Turbo part of my story or whatever when we get there.
You're a Bay Turbo.
What are these insults? Or
You're just
attempted
out of words
insults?
to say, or you're saying things with no actual goal.
Nerd.
Oh wow, bro.
God.
That
Dude,
toxic.
TZ head, kinda toxic.
Bad boss. Demote, please.
It's
Yeah,
time to mount a
For new
revolution.
TC head.
You need people to move up.
Gotta get the toxicity out of my system.
You already started the stream though, what do you mean?
Oh, God. Bro, way to expose yourself.
Shit. I'll be right back, guys. Keep getting distracted. Ugh.
Oh, I gotta like delete all this.
Ano's a busy man, dude.
Everyone sees your desktop.
I don't think he cares.
I
It's-
don't. I don't really.
Oh, right, we gotta prepare. We gotta pay for Zonto's Rain Slasher Fund.
You just dump everything you have at the start.
Well, not right now. I'm still kind of broke, but I gotta remember for next.
But you just
whenever-
continuously pay whatever you have for Zento's Rain Slasher Fund.
True.
Hi everyone. Wait for more people to trickle in.
In the meantime, I'll probably grab some water. Back.
Gao's only almond. Fine cup of coffee. Oh. Why the Discord chat? Oh. Let me fix that wall. We're doing that.
You have the other, yeah, the other.
I have to set up
freaking
another
outlay.
stream kit. Voice. Speaking only, small avatars, yep. When all get to chat. Word chat. Okay. Think. I don't like accidentally close out of the stream.
Alright, I am back.
Hello back.
Thank you. We decided what we're gonna do in the back. Just
Not yet.
alright.
I'm just getting everything ready.
If you wanna run around in my open world, I do think I'm gonna refresh more for domains, so That's something.
You're something.
Thanks.
Dude, is Art even in the right mindset right now to podcast?
He's,
I think
he's so.
he's just out of it.
Hang on, I just gotta read something to get my blood pumping.
Should I read something that triggers
Yeah,
you?
hold on.
Read
I'm
a
gonna
hot
open up
take.
Eula Jan Fate, see if we can open it.
No, dude. Just read that old conversation and then. Good. Also, we can't talk about that here. We're not
Maybe we can mention it, but we can't talk.
You literally named the channel.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Which is already.
Yeah, the one job
Alright.
Not like it's not like we can get even more blacklisted.
True.
True. Yeah, I think Celia's can't even. Oh my god, just. It's all.
Hi everyone, hello. Look at all of you guys with all your Genshin.
Where do they get these emos? There's one that says Envy.
That one's
Do you-
definitely
do you-
from Envy.
That's probably from Envy if I were to guess.
Genshin Impact now.
Dude, I've been like watching freaking YouTube. Like, I actually have ad blocker on, but for like creators that I want to support, I turn off ad blocker. And I've been getting these like free Prima Gem scam ads like so many freaking times. Like, it's so ridiculous.
Well, are you sure they're a scam? Have you tried them?
Have you seen the videos? Like they
No, I'm kidding.
The font is completely
But-
different, and this guy is just like freaking out, like, "Oh my god, free Prima Gems!" And I'm like, "Cool story."
Alright, I have my daily still to do, Fluffy, so I'll do that in the background.
I'll boost you in co-op,
then
dude.
At some point, I'll just go to your world and start mining.
I actually need to mine as well, so that's probably a good thing.
The stock prices for Genshin characters? Indeed.
Yep, and their values vary based on how well they fare in current Abyss 12.
Specifically, Abyss 12 and only.
Oh my god, freestyle with the new Prima Gem code.
Debated.
I know, doing a great deed for our community.
Or you don't have the UID blocker on the left.
I do now.
Ooh. Good.
Nice.
How much money have I spent on Genshin Impact? This is a question I am not very well equipped to answer.
You spend without counting how much you spent.
Oh my
Enough.
god.
I've spent enough. Okay? That's the
You just
answer.
have to think about it.
Pedovsky, you say you just don't think about it?
Yeah, I mean, like maybe once a month I'll go into my bank account and take a look, and then I try to block out the memory.
Oh my god.
I know in
Imagine
Whales
really.
Only chat right now, or not only, Whale by the way or whatever, someone posted they're at 20k,
Oh god.
another 20k member.
Yeah, I mean, some of those guys are crazy. Like, I'm on the lower end of making bad life choices, but those guys put me to shame sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Well, it technically-
25,000
it's-
for you, yep.
What classifies as a bad life choice for someone could be not a bad life choice for others. So
Well, okay, yeah, in fairness, like, my bank account balance is healthy and it's not going down over time, so I'm not, like, you know, putting myself in the poorhouse or anything.
Yep, so long as you spend wisely, there is no worries to be had.
Alright, today,
If we redeem a Cleve voice line, will you read it with a lolly voice? Likely not.
Probably not today. Today we're doing, some like podcast stuff. Some people wanted us to run through. Oh my god, hang on. Some people wanted us to run through like how do I say this? Pick up the
Like-
whole background. Oh.
Like main or like I guess big theory crafting topics, because not everyone has time to just lurk in theory
Yeah.
crafting 24/7.
So like this past month has been fairly active, like more active than usual for theory crafting. So some people have asked us to like go through the findings for this month, and we'll chat about other pertinent issues. Of course, we're gonna hold our tactfulness, and we'll probably steer away from questions regarding the current state of leaks and stuff like that. No, just want to address that right out of the gate. Probably gonna ignore questions about that. No.
And then in terms of questions in general, we'll probably get around to like questions in waves. So we'll go through like a couple topics first, based on what we want to talk about, and then we'll look through questions afterwards.
Yeah.
So as to like not interrupt the flow of questions or of discussion rather.
Do you have the docket still? Is it like presentable? Like if I put it on stream right now?
It's just a rough outline. So I'll just bring up the topic and then we'll just do.
I mean, I can just open it and then.
Do you want me to link it again or?
Ping me with it, yeah.
All right.
Okay. There's nothing dumb on here, right? So I can just throw this up.
Yeah, nothing leaks or anything.
Okay. Can I make stream capture without just destroying everything? Let's see. Maybe a text, probably fine.
While Art's doing that, hello to all joining viewers and all returning viewers. We're trying out a bit of a, I guess, new format for, I guess, a podcast-esque thing on stream.
What is Genshin's called again?
Pin, I think you know the Genshin font, I believe.
Oh yeah. Let me pull up Photoshop here because it's.
I always lose it, honestly. I know I have it. It's just
default JP is
Okay.
the actual font name. I don't know if that's the file name, but I can find it in like 30 seconds.
I got it. I have it somewhere. I just gotta. Oh, there it is. Alt underscore some other stuff. Yeah. Background lo-fi was the same. Leeway music? Is this Leeway lo-fi? Yeah, it is. I just Google like random lo-fi stuff, and today we had some stuff. Right, so first up, 1.3 stuff. Color.
Oh, we've been exposed as an imposter.
Hmm?
Ooh, Kuching Main's talking to Kuching Main in chat.
Is that Doug who's on the account right now?
Ooh, yeah, it is Doug. Just if anyone chats here, it's Doug in class.
Oh my god. Get Doug out of here. Go focus on class.
Nice to stream that you're streaming again, right? Yeah. Just been a wild ride. Okay. The music, and we can go ahead and get started at any point. Let me introduce what we're doing again. So, this is our pilot and our first of hopefully what will be like a monthly, or at least a monthly thing, where pitching mains will take relevant parties and outstanding members to join us on the stream. And the idea is that we'll just discuss major findings, the events in Genshin, just like general news, our thoughts and feelings on most of the things. And then we'll run through like some quick thoughts on the current banners, stuff like that, and then probably a little bit about the current events, stuff like that. About it. Today I have with me a couple of people. I have a bunch of editors from the Theorycrafting section of Kitching Mains, and I also have Pinupski, one of our resident whales who participates in Theorycrafting, and Fahrenheit, who some of you might know from Sucrose Main. So and then we also have Zanto, an admin from Beidou Mains. Some of you might know Fluffy from Xiao Mains. Neptunia is active everywhere pretty much, but she's, I believe I first saw her in Ganyu Mains, but everyone just kind of falls under the pitching Mains flag now.
Yep, indeed. Now, we have a little podcast to cover pretty much all of our findings that we found last month. And boy, is there some stuff to cover.
Alright, so first thing I think is let's briefly go over the 1.3 banners, just so we can get a kind of more of like a in review kind of look at it. So so the first banner 1.3, Zhao. Animo Polearm, new main DPS character, very selfish, but we saw, at least with the initial couple days of testing, we saw there was a lot more complexity to him than we would have initially thought. So I guess let's open up with that. So what are some of your guys' general thoughts on Zhao? I know Art, you tested him a lot initially.
Yeah, so probably like I would say a decent portion of the narrative around Zhao was probably penned by me. Not to like toot my own horn or anything, but like most of the problems, most of the issues with him, his strength and stuff like that, most of the information regarding general power level as C0 was probably floating around in Kitching Mains the initial start. I don't think my thoughts on him have changed very much. He seems pretty average. Once you take him to hypercarry status, he's one of the first like truly AoE units that we have.
Yeah.
My opinion. Oh, go ahead.
Wait, go ahead, Mono.
No, you actually play him. You go first.
Okay, yeah. So, as somebody who plays Zhao and has taken him to hyperstack, I think, at least in my case, single target wise, he's not the most impressive DPS. But at least when in AoE scenarios, you can really see how hard he scales up with more enemies. Just because his damage doesn't split with more enemies, it just adds another hit altogether. And at least in hyperstack territory, he dishes out so much damage, and a lot of his like energy issues that you would have got like at like medium investment and things like that. A lot of those are cut down just by the excessive amount of HP particles you get. So I think even at C0, he can get pretty absurd hyperstacked, and that's not even counting the insanity that says C6 with 2 or more enemies. But I think he's solid. He's no. I think he's one of the DPS that stand out more, but it's more in the sense that there's nothing to do with reactions with him. It's just raw DPS output.
Yeah, I only TC'd from the sidelines in terms of Zhao, but one of the things that I was never satisfied with was third rotation equals just spaghetti. I was never satisfied with the just hyper stack him and energy goes away.
Yeah, well,
solution.
the thing is, like, we're actually starting to see that show up a lot more with the newer characters, where the reliance on certain units like Xingqiu is really pulling their strength back quite a bit, and a lot of them really do run into problems outside of like their first or second rotation. Probably the one of few units, one of the few units in the game still that just doesn't have this problem is Diluc, and of course Ganyu. He doesn't nearly suffer as much.
Yeah.
I don't know, my closing thoughts on Zhao aren't really anything special. He's good where he's good. Probably content dependent. He seems, I don't know, like it's pretty average. Like I said, there's not really much to say about him unless someone else has different thoughts on him.
Not really.
Yeah, I think he's more than usable in pretty much all content. As long like he's not going to be a bad choice to invest in outside of like Wolf, but I mean that kind of makes sense because you can't do animal damage to Wolf. But he's a solid character. Nothing super special. We went over things like the jet combo and things like that, but I think in practical use it's a lot simpler to do things like higher low plunge spams. But simple DPS character, invest more, you get more out of him. But other than that, there's no real huge team synergies going on with him.
Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Should be about it for Zhao.
We got questions?
I think someone asked if he was future-proof, and that's about it.
I would say he is future-proof. At least in terms of crossing damage thresholds, he has more than enough to do so. So at least as it stands right now, the only outside of like animo resistance enemies, should be more than fine. So anything other than like animo slime, Eye of the Storm, like enemies you don't see super often, he will be a good choice for the future. So it's not a bad thing to have him at all.
I don't know. He's a fairly interesting unit still. I mean, he's not like boring by any means. His battery issues weren't as nearly as bad as we thought it would be. He's actually quite flexible in terms of his team comps outside of like one anemo unit. So no, he's a pretty good unit. Nothing really else about it. Say about it.
Yeah.
Alright, who is next? Who came out?
Moving on, Kaching, the kind of put there just because there's nothing ready kind of banner. So it's a little weird to see a perm banner there, but at least it got her a little bit more attention. So where do we think she stands now? Like a couple updates in past her release.
Pain.
I mean, she's fine. Like, nothing really outstandingly wrong with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing that stands out to me with Kaching is her own solo DPS isn't as reliant on things like amping or like having an aura uptime like other DPS. So I think she's probably the most flexible DPS character we have. You have a lot of room just choosing whatever outside like hyper like off-field damages you want. Like you can throw in juggling, you can throw in Beto. She already knockbacks anyways, so Overload's not the end of the world. But like, I think she's very good at just being extra damage on field. So I think like in terms of solo DPS, she won't output as much as others, but you don't need her sub DPS to be built around her, which I think a big point about her that a lot of people kind of sleep on because they just look at solo DPS numbers and see, oh, Kaching is lower.
Yeah, that's about my thoughts as well. But as you'll see later, there's another wrinkle to this story after Banner ended that makes this kind of sad. But yeah, normal Kaching is alright.
Just because you're not in like the Diluc and above club doesn't mean you're bad, so probably fine.
Alright, next banner, Homa and Wolf's Gravestone, the weapon banner, with the Lithic series as well in 4 stars.
Hog.
Honestly, the most stacked weapon banner we could have ever gotten.
What are we
Yes.
talking about? Homa
And Wolf's Gravestone.
yeah.
Yes.
Unlike the current banner for weapons, that last one was by far the best weapon banner so far to pull on. I could see you kind of arguing for the last WGS banner, but I don't know, that last one was just killer. You had Widzit, the Lithic series, and
Lion Roar, Sackbow.
Yeah, 2 of the best 5-star weapons in their categories.
It was so stupid. Like, oh my god.
I don't know. For free-to-play players, or low spenders, it was a fantastic banner. For free-to-play players or people that, spend their Prima gems like willy-nilly, probably not that useful. Did kickstart like a lot of discussion in the community about whether or not the rates for the 5-star weapons were rigged. I haven't seen any of the data processing for that yet, but I know Kaching Mains has collected quite a bit of data, as in like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like just maybe $100,000 worth of pulls.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But in terms of personally, I got pretty good results. It was like R5 almost everything except the spear, but then I got Homa anyway, so who cares? R5 everything else, and a WGS.
Very nice.
I was set.
I picked up a Homa myself. Alright.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we'll get another banner like that for a while now.
Yeah.
The weapons from now on are probably going to be a little more niche. Like Primordial, Jade Cutter, and Homa, like, notwithstanding. Like, most weapons are fairly niche. Pulling on them is, like, usually in the domain of people who want to push certain characters to their absolute limits. Elegy included in that club.
Yeah, I don't think. I also don't think we'll get a banner on that level. I think it's. I just think it's kind of funny that probably the 2 best banners we got both had Gravestone as one of the 5-star, just because it's really the only more DPS oriented 5-star options we have for Claymore. So, I mean, it's just a good weapon all around. I think.
Claymore's just sick.
I mean, fair enough. But it's not a bad Claymore to have. Throwing it on someone like Beta if you don't have Serpent's fine. Things like that are pretty good. So it has its uses. It's a strong choice on pretty much every Claymore. Maybe not best in slot always, but it's good. All right. Now the final banner of 1.3, Hu Tao.
Good.
Now I have nothing to say here. I never pulled Hu Tao. I just ran her test run for the gems, and that was it. But Art, you've also done extensive testing here, so
yeah.
you can go ahead and start.
The head of Theorycrafting, I have to pay attention to the discussions that happen, and that typically leads me to getting super bad FOMO. so I just end up pulling stuff anyway, even if I wasn't interested in them before. So I don't know, it's a pretty interesting dynamic. She's like, I don't know, Hutao is also a pretty interesting unit. She's not like, she was surprisingly not as unga bunga as Luke. Her initial impressions, like her pre-release, like Theorycrafting put her pretty like whatever in my brain. Like it was just like, oh, just another charge attack spam or whatever. But we found her like as soon as she released, almost like 30 minutes in, we found that she had a bunch of animation cancels, and you could push her damage like significantly further. So I think she was a great pickup for people that were not on mobile and had the will or want to learn how to animation cancel on. A little bit of a shame that she doesn't really scale too well off of any of the spears except for Homa right now. Deathmatch is like a great option, but we're talking about like nearly 40% increase in damage just by picking up a Homa, so
Yeah, it's a little silly. I was personally a part of the pre-TCing because of certain discovery that I'll get to later, but it was pretty fun, honestly. The Hu Tao Main's TC was actually unusually active and quite good, although there were some odd excursions like the adjusted MVs thing. That was
Hutao
not
definitely
really
I don't know, Kaching maidens and Hutao maidens, they're fine. We're fine now. We have a wonderful working relationship with the Theorycrafting community. But
Yep.
very early on into Hutao's like life cycle, it was an interesting ride, I'm not gonna lie. If you weren't like part of the Theorycrafting crowd, things like they made some like really small mistakes, like anyone is prone to them, but they made some pretty small mistakes that would just ripple out, and they would post like some pretty insane numbers. How would I would put it?
Yeah. But those got fixed with time, and now we have a guide, and some
Yeah.
of those big TCers are now a fixture in the community. So that's all in the past.
We've learned our lessons with that one, and we're pretty reserved about releasing numbers and calculating stuff really early. So, some good came of it, at least.
Yeah.
And about the character herself, I think another thing of note, which I guess all of us here are not really super experienced with, but in terms of speedrun, Hu Tao became one of the new kind of premier speedrun characters, just because her Q can dish out massive damage when she is active. So I think that's pretty interesting. Speedrun category is starting to expand a little bit outside of Mona and Child. So
especially her C6, it has such a huge impact on your ability to do ridiculous stuff like just stack literally pure crit damage, proc your C6, and then press E, press Q, and everything disappears from your screen.
yeah, in terms of speedrun, it doesn't have a huge impact because people would crit reset anyways, but it saves you trouble on the RNG, makes it more focused on resetting until you get the rotation done correctly. So it's I think outside of speedrun, C6 has got nice practical use as well. But
Basically saves you an entire artifact set.
It does, yeah. Which is it's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, the ability to just cast your E like while you're at around 50% health just to proc the C6, like the bar of activation is so easy for people to just rip off like a 320 crit damage Q. So it's been pretty nice, and one of the benefits of her release is that since she's a pyro unit, she doesn't directly compete with Child Hormona, and you get some really interesting rollouts with her. I would highly recommend you check out Charlie's speedrun channel or check out Charlie on his YouTube. He has pretty insane runs. Like he has 6-second Hutao clears for top side of 12-3. He also has a 14-second total runtime of 12, like floor 12 as a whole, or 12-3 as a whole. So always interesting to watch.
Do you want me to link his channel in
Yeah, you can go
the
ahead.
chat?
Yeah. Check him out at CLG Genshin, I believe. Yeah.
It's just CL Genshin, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got great speed runs, I think. So it's
Yeah.
a very good example of what the peak of a C6 unit could look like.
And he also runs a bunch of speedrunning now. Has his own server. Pitching Mains wholeheartedly supports his endeavors. So, if you're interested in speedrunning or picking up new information about rollouts and stuff like that, I know they would love to have you.
All right, and that kind of concludes it for banners. We went over Zhao, Keqing, the Homa Wolf's Grace and Weapon banner, and Hutao. I kind of skipped over Jade Cutter banner, but new cracked sword. But other than that, that banner didn't have very much special. As for story, I think we can clump them all a bit together. There was the Dainsleif Archon quest, there was the Zhao story quest, and the Hutao story quest.
Honestly, the content that they release sometimes is just so forgettable. Like, it really is. Like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, it's just we'll get more into it later, but like, honestly, just give me an infinite abyss floor. Like, that's all I want, honestly. Like, just give me an infinitely scaling abyss floor.
All right, since I kind of have an opinion about story, because that's one of the things I like to focus on when I play the game. I think the Dainsleif story quest was just kind of boring. There was a little bit of story we learned about. Actually, I don't know if I should say it. Maybe a spoiler. I can just go general, but we learned some new interesting things, story wise, and about new potential enemies, which we will see in 1.4 as well, I believe.
Yeah, it was just kind of
Zhao
a
story
precursor.
quest? Yeah, it wasn't really like full story, so it wasn't super exciting. Zhao story quest was I don't even realize he had a story quest. It just kind of passed by, kind of boring. Hutao, I think, was actually pretty good of a story quest. I'd say I probably put it around my enjoyment level, similar to Venti's. You know, there was a lot of busy work, I feel like, at least with like NPC talking quests, but it wasn't a bad quest. It was fun to play her C3 as well in her story quests. Also pretty cool. But
I think I agree that Hutao's story was just definitely had more character than a lot of the other ones. I know Ganyu's was just so unbelievably boring. Oh my goodness. I adore Ganyu. I like her like workaholic personality. But holy moly, they really did their best to make me fall asleep during that quest.
Yeah, I have similar opinions. Hutao quest, best by far. Dainsleif ended too soon, in my opinion. They really should have gotten the contents that they were previewing included in there. It was kind of just like some dumb detective story with a cliffhanger. And then Zhao's. Oh my god, Zhao's.
That one was a little
it was funny how bad that one was.
The fact that the gameplay that you could experience with some of these story quests, like a lot of them are like to bait you into like buying a character or whatever, but Zhao's was like so explicitly like designed to make you like think that he was so much more powerful than he was. They just straight up ignoring like all of his problems, and they just let it go, dude. They really just put that out there.
Yeah. One thing to note about the Dainsleif one is it was technically a kind of like precursor to the continuation of the main story. It wasn't.
Finally, honestly.
It was short, right? Because that is related to main story, but I believe they're gonna go through it in the second half of 1.4, if I'm not mistaken. But we can.
Yeah, the thing is like
Yeah.
with Genshin stories, like a lot. If you're not aware, a lot of the story is actually buried in a lot of like the flavor text and like a lot of like the little books in the game, and a lot of things are like implied, and most of the things like in the main story are kind of like just surface level, you know, like generic or whatever. But I know the people in our lore library on the Kitching main server have put together like a ton of resources about like the deeper parts of the Genshin world. So yeah, if you are interested in lore, want to chat about it, I know some people are more excited about it than others. Check them out. I believe you have to get a reaction roll for the lore library, but Corgi does a very nice job of collecting all the information and theories.
Yep. And
Alright.
next.
I think we'll go story. Let's move on to events. So the first one's not quite an event, but it's Theorycrafting's new favorite punching bag, the Primo Geo Vishap.
Ooh, this one's gonna be good.
There's a bit to talk about here, but not like a crazy amount, but just a little bit. So, I'll start, I guess. Then. So, as I said earlier, new favorite punching bag. It's a big tanky boss, a lot of HP, standard resistances outside of whatever element it views with, and Geo and Fizz. So any elemental Animo DPS can switch around to just pretty much have a high HP punching bag to play around with. It attacks frequently, so you can play around kind of like counter mechanic stuff too with someone like Beto. I don't know. I personally, initially when it came out, I was farming for Zhao because I got him day one to farm, but it was a fun boss to learn, I think. At least it was more interesting than the other bosses because it's not fighting in a phase, but rather like a single boss, you each hitting each other at the same time kind of deal. So I thought in terms of at least open world bosses, it was more fun, but also it has a tankiness to just be a good test dummy as opposed to always doing ruin guards who can't always take a beating, you know. And it's respawnable to you, so that's also nice.
Yeah, the Primo Bishop is nice because it doesn't rely on burst DPS like the Regis Vines or the Elemental Cubes. You can go ham anytime you want.
Mm-hmm. But there was another development by our good friend Zanto, who came up with the brilliant idea of creating a scoreboard for the fastest and the memeiest clears of Geodog. And boy, oh boy, were there some clears.
Oh no. Are we gonna show them?
The people that are unaware, Kaching mains ran, or not the Kaching mains, but the Theory Crafters of Kaching mains ran a nice little like lighthearted event where the specific details of killing the Geodog or the Geo Primo Bishop weren't exactly to kill it extremely quickly, but rather interestingly.
Mm-hmm.
We have to show.
Yeah, here, I'll go ahead and pull some of the clears up for you guys. Let you guys see.
Honestly, I still can't pick between Zhongli Camp Season 2 or Hergen Lisa, like naked Lisa.
It all started with my Amber solo no hit, and it just went horrible from there.
It was horrible. It became better.
I don't know the amount of time Nosy spent doing the Lisa run.
So there's been we had a lot of fun with this event. Unfortunately, people are still trying to submit stuff for it, and it is
we haven't closed it.
See.
It's still going.
Okay.
I think we've just like submissions have slowed after seeing freaking like Nosy just straight up like 3-hour run. Like the man is built different, and he is.
I probably
Why?
won't be able to play any of the entries, considering they all probably have copyrighted music, but
Yeah.
they
Explain the measurement scheme.
so the rules were you couldn't use food, no whales, as in nothing like C6 Omega broken stuff, serious replies, right? Quote unquote serious. Time started, yeah, and pretty much the only thing it really had to have was anime music, and then yeah. So competition that you had to beat was Attack on Titan Chi-Chi here. So yeah, you had to beat a 1 minute 30 clear. You had to kill the Geobishop in like 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it was just an interesting way to measure your damage, because some people who thought that their characters were particularly good would open it up, roll up on the Geobishop, and then clear slower than Chi-Chi. So yeah, that's kind of where it happened. Isn't most anime OST safe? I mean, we could play the AOT Chi-Chi or a small.
Yeah, I think we should do Chi-Chi for the reference one.
Is this gonna work? Doubtful.
Oh wow.
It never does.
Oh, it links to the Discord. We need to
Oh,
have
yeah,
it linked to the
you
stream
need
of
to
all.
fix
Oh
Yeah,
no, it links to the thing though.
it
takes
didn't
away
work.
from the
It
message.
opened the web version for. So here I have it. So this is what your competition was. That was really loud, but
Yep.
yeah.
Taser Chi.
All you had to beat was this clear, and everything was measured in reference to this.
Yep.
The whole 1 minute and 30 seconds of this. We had a lot of fun clears. I know our Nosy did a Lisa run that was
That wasn't the Lisa God one, though.
That's not Lisa God.
this is
That was the...
a 28-minute clear of the Geo Bishop with Lisa. And then here's by Nosy again, a 2 hour and 36 minute of a 1 HP Lisa. It is exactly
Oh my
what you could expect it was. It was.
Guys, I can't even. Like, I can't do 1 minute 30 seconds of not getting hit. Like, let alone hours of this. I had to do a video where I intentionally got hit by everything.
This is a 2 hour long video of a level 90 Lisa with nothing on her and just autoing away at the bishop and not dying.
I want to point out, I'm pretty sure he messed up a run before this one as well. Toward the
Messed up
end of it
too.
too. So he just kept going.
Nosy said
I
it took
can't
him 2 or
explain-
3 tries, yeah.
Oh my god.
The man is built different. Yeah, the moment he freaking dropped this bomb, like submissions.
That was the
slowed.
moment that the runs unofficially ended.
What music is playing? Let me find out.
So, like, picture this.
It's
your
Baby
weekend.
Shark, I'm pretty sure.
You got Saturday and Sunday off, and you're like, I know what sounds good today. Spending 5 hours auto attacking this Geo Lizard with a Lisa that has no gear on.
And then we have
Disqualified.
our disqualified submission
Wait.
by Sempi here.
Oh yeah,
This
kind
is
of cringe.
a
Yeah.
Xingqiu one shot. So, but he had food buffs, so absolutely disqualified as per the rules. And there you go. If you want to check out some of these are pretty funny. The bottom ones are It might be a little cursed for most people. We have like 40-minute clears, like all that good stuff.
I think the top one is still Senpi as well. Just his hotel.
What am I watching?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, so this is our legal entry. Pretty sure I could probably do this
A
one.
0.21 Chi-Chi?
Well, the thing is like, the fucking Xingqiu chunks it by like a quarter.
Yeah, look at that. Just a casual 200 KE. And then
Yes.
a 250k hotel queue.
Fucking
People in
water
the chat
power.
who have not heard of Senpi's one-shot Jinshu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Xingqiu with that C4 kind of.
Just call him Water Pow, because his E is basically her Q except water.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got a lot of entries like this. I would recommend checking it out. We'll probably run. I know we're running another event really soon, but on the Kaching main server as a whole. We'll talk about it later. But one of them is it's a speed run to run from the bottom of Dragon Spine
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that
all
later.
the way to the top. But yeah, we'll get to that later.
All right. So that's the highlight of the Geovichep. He's not only a punching bag, but we had a pretty interesting TC event going on. So it was fun. It was there was a lot going on, but it was pretty exciting, I think. Next event to talk about, the Lantern Raid.
Gosh, the actual event in the game. I don't know.
The
I
actual-
have mixed feelings about this one, to say the least.
Yeah.
Damn. Go ahead and give your thoughts, guys. What you guys
All right. I'll begin then. I thought the requests that they gave us like a couple of per day. I thought there were so many of those, and they kind of became a drag. We didn't talk to any story characters or story-related leeway characters, so it was a kind of a low relatability point. It wasn't people we were interested in too much. In terms of tower defense, I think that was pretty fun. I never played a co-op personally, but I thought it was fun, except it turned eventually into a set up your towers and go on Discord for 5 minutes simulator. Once you started doing it more, and it became a little bit of a hassle trying to max out your towers and stuff like that for the event points. But Stand By Me event, free 4-star character, that I did enjoy. I got myself a C4 Zhangling. But other than that, I thought the event was unironically, or maybe ironically, a bit uneventful. But it wasn't terrible. It made it feel more like a filler update, but I'll take free stuff any day.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
similar opinions. I hated the tower defense, just straight up. But yeah. But I will say that the problem with the story, like the story quests, was I think they took the excitement of like the memorability of certain NPCs like too far. Like there's some memorable ones like Madam Ping and
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's memorable? Mother?
literally just Madam Ping, honestly. That's how memorable they are.
We didn't even
This
get
is
Madam
like-
Ping.
Madam
We
Ping
didn't
was
even
in
get
the
Madam
event.
Yeah. She had-
talked to us a little bit in the beginning, but
Yeah,
she wasn't in any.
for an event that celebrated like the Adeptus or whatever, didn't really see anything very interesting at all.
And then it was just like Zhao and fucking Kaya for some reason. It was like, oh, we have our own festival going on too. You should show up to that one. Fuck if I will. It was gonna be like this one. But really, it was just a drag getting through them all. But there was some interesting lore, particularly with the village. I liked that one more because it was kind of vague just on the surface level, but it made sense afterwards. And then Stand By Me was amazing, obviously. that's like good. But I hated the tower defense so much. I just got the tokens for that, got my crown, and noped the fuck out. I was not doing that for the rest of the items. No.
It was like fun at first, but there's like no depth to it, especially once you get tower upgrades. Like, you just kind of, it's so easy to just AFK and not care anymore.
Yeah. How to not make a tower defense.
I mean, at least leeway looked cool. Like, I think for me, I actually kept like turning the clock to like leeway at night just because I liked how cool the lanterns were.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On the topic of lanterns, one other I guess it's not really an event, but one other thing I enjoyed doing was spamming like 500 lanterns out of my inventory at once. Great way to drop your frames to like 2 FPS, but it's kind of fun seeing some massive lanterns fly up in the sky. But,
Dude, I farmed over 1,500 of those, and I was gonna release them all at once and record it. And it got to the point where I just had like a macro set up to like just keep clicking the spot, and it was releasing like one lantern every 3 seconds, and I was almost through it, and then the game crashed. And when I got back in, the lanterns were of course all gone. So, you know, like I had used them, they weren't in game. It was just wasted. I cried a little.
From what I've seen
Yeah,
of videos of it, they just kind of became like a really big blob.
yeah, nothing super special about them. But I guess we have not very positive outlook on Lantern Rite aside from the Stand By Me event, and
Dude,
I guess
that
aesthetic
event-
of the event. But
that event was so bad. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's provisions in the Geneva Convention against what they did with those side quests. It was psychological warfare and pure torture. There could have been some interesting stuff in there, but it's like if you were waterboarding somebody and then every 30 minutes you took a break to like offer them a tasty morsel or something. Of course they're not going to be interested.
Just like Genshin is like at its heart is a mobile game, but I'm not sure this mini game direction is exactly what the core audience is looking forward to. Even people who would play on mobile, I don't know if they would appreciate like these tedious like events. I mean, I wouldn't really want to word it any other way because that's straight up, they're just tedious.
Your
I think-
battery's
I
gonna
think-
die before you can do them.
I think the problem I think with Lantern Rite mainly was because it was tedious. The event itself wasn't great, but the problem was that it was supposed to be the highlight of 1.3, and there was nothing crazy to go off, right? Because 1.0 we had the whole game come out. That's a pretty big highlight. 1.1 we had new leeway story, like core story. We had new weekly boss. 1.2 we had a whole new region, Dragon Spine, and then 1.3 was just an event, no new areas, like one new boss, but it was just punching bag. I think it didn't do its job of being the highlight of the update.
I agree with that.
Right, moving on. The Vishap event, Vishaps and where to find them.
I actually
was
quite
just-
liked it.
It was. I actually liked it more than Lantern Rite, probably because we expected it to be in moderation. It just put up a couple extra expeditions a day, get free gems. Every day, go fight like 2 regular Vishaps with much lower health than the 12-1 variants, and it was casual. There was not any stress at all to or like pressure to finish it, but it was easy, right? You just start up an expedition, come back a couple hours later, and you're done. And no boring fetch quests or thing like that.
Yeah,
It's free Prima Gems.
No fuss. Primo gems. Unless for some reason you don't have enough characters to field all the expeditions, then
And not enough friends.
yeah, I guess rip you then. But I don't know. It was nice.
Right, and the final, I guess I'm calling this an event, but the new floor 12, low enemy density, high HP. New DPS check. But what are you guys' thoughts on our new floor 12?
It's so pog.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
they run
Go
it
for
like
it.
50 times in a row.
Yeah.
I don't know. So like the Abyss is like sometimes it's super like tailored towards like the characters of the banner. For 1.0, we had a very pyro focused and AoE focused like Abyss, so like Venti and Klee excelled particularly well. Child can get the short end of the stick there, but after that, we got a Geo, like we got a bunch of Geo leyline, I don't know what they're called, leyline disruptions, I think?
Disorder, I think.
Disorders. So Albedo and Zhongli definitely appreciated it, but honestly, the damage was kind of pitiful, so it was like, whatever. The next floor with the 75% geo damage bonus definitely appreciated that in 1.3. So I'm not really sure what the Abyss is supposed to be for anymore. Like, I know they kind of push the Abyss to be towards like so that the current banner units kind of excel in it, but honestly, like, we're reaching kind of the point where like it really doesn't matter, and if you have strong units, you'll be able to clear the Abyss like regardless.
Yeah. I think that they realized it and they like it's gonna be generic from now on unless they make like some new challenge with a different theme somehow. I'm hoping for that, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, the only real highlight I think from our 1.3 new floor 12 is less of a focus on Venti because the floors became like really low density all of a sudden. So now it's more of how high damage can you dish out versus a low number of targets. So of course Zento had a field day taking out Beto with 2 targets, optimal scenario. I guess, and that kind of ties into something we'll go over later, which is the kind of the premiere of off-field DPS character. So let's move on to what's next. Theorycrafting findings. This is the juicy stuff of 1.3. So
Oh dear.
first,
This is a lantern,
we'll
red
begin.
boys.
All right. First, we'll begin with Turbo, and this is your specialty, Mono.
Oh boy, this is gonna be a story. Okay. So, 1 month ago, when we all got shunted out of Gishingmein's theory crafting and into global, aka all of the main servers, TCs, just in one thing. So, we were in exile and we were just minding our own business, doing TC, and number one official simp walks in, and we were talking about batteries. This was around Zhao release or pre-release, I don't remember. But we were talking about ways to maybe fix his issues. That obviously never happened. And someone mentioned the A4 bug with Fischl that lets her generate more particles. And I asked him about it, number one official simp, and he pointed out that there was a ticket for it a long time ago about it, and it was by Tyson, and he documented a little property about Oz that was interesting. So if Oz normal attacks and normal attacks only and triggers superconduct, he generates a particle for every single enemy that gets hit by it. The reaction. And I was like, isn't that really powerful? The first thing I do, I go to Jayun Karst with the pack of 7 pyro slimes, throw a Venti ult at it, pop fish down, put 0 ER Beto on the field and see what happens. Oz not finished and fucking got an entire burst before he was even done shooting. And I was just floored, like, what? And then I calced how many particles it was doing. So it was like face particle gen plus the reactions times how many enemies you have in the reaction. And turns out with C6 official you can make hundreds and hundreds of particles. And it, god. 120 particles per minute is crazy. So the first thing I did was look for ways to build around it. And Shadowblade was the first one to do so. So there was a turbo, as we called it. I called it. I have some regrets about the name, but it stuck. So whatever. And he made Zhao Turbo. And I developed that alongside him and Zay, who is another editor, not around though, but the build was cool. It involved 4TF because of an interaction with Swirl that lets him get procs with by swirling Electro onto Cryo, but Turbo is the backup plan if the auras were inverted, so you just gent energy. He never posted that video, but I don't think it really amounted to much. But there are many new builds, and half of Hu Tao's builds, in fact, are turbo. There's Pyro Turbo teams, which you can choose to run Hu Tao with, and Cryo Turbo teams, which involve Kaya plus some other supplementary cryo unit. And then Venti can flex for either side. And basically, the whole idea of turbo comps is to just force the official interaction over and over again to spam high-cost bursts running 0 ER. And they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think most of it can be just summarized as some weird reaction findings with Oz, probably unintentionally generating a significant amount of energy, and it heavily skews the energy economy in the game. So I expect it to be patched out, like whenever MiHoYo really picks up on it, or whenever the Chinese community really picks up on it, because the effects are actually quite substantial.
Mm-hmm. It really picked up steam after Zanto messaged me asking about how to build it for Bay, and then he went and cleared 13-1 with it on a 0 ER Bay. Oh, 12.
12-3.
Yeah, fucking
12-3-1.
it's too late. It's like 12-3. He did it in like 20-ish seconds or whatever, and it was absurd. Oh god. At that point I knew I found something good. And I pitched some ideas to Hu Tao means, and we found the several turbo Hu Tao builds. And they all perform quite well, although some better than others. In my opinion, just the pure Pyro and Melt with Official are the best options, in my opinion, but there's also Hot Pot, which is just Hu Tao, Kaya Jingchu, and Official, which is just throw all the reactions in and you don't really care what happens.
You guys need to find better names for this shit. I'm not gonna lie. Nobody wants to hear KF Turbo. Nobody wants to hear Hot Pot. Like, you just call it like what it is, honestly. They have to be like
Yeah.
somewhat descriptive of like what's happening in the team
Yeah.
guys.
I regret the turbo name, honestly, but some people like Jinjinx took it a
Too
little
far.
bit far with the KF turbo thing. Although that one's become a meme at this point, so I don't know what to say about that anymore.
I mean that wraps up Turbo pretty nicely. Just
Yeah.
Official's priority actually was kind of decreasing. Her sub DPS was not or is not as strong as we really made it out to be like early on in the game. Other units with more investment turn out to be a lot stronger. But of course, like with constellations, like everyone is quite ridiculous in their sub DPS. Kaya, Beidou, Xingqiu, Xiangling, like their sub DPS capabilities are all fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just official only game now, so yeah.
Yeah.
So Turbo definitely pushes her priority back into the game just a
Yep.
All right,
Jeez.
and I think that's kind of it for Turbo. So I guess we can move on to Country Team, which we don't have Tenten here, but the team is Chongyin, Xingqiu, Bennett, and Zhang Ling, and the idea is to just slam out so much Pyronado damage from Zhang Ling, of course Rainsword damage from Xingqiu, that it absolutely annihilates like a lot of things. It is I think it's probably one of the earlier instances where we saw how just how valuable all of these off-field DPS characters were, and I think it helped get kickstarted all this all like the look into Highcon's 4 stars in comparison to the low con's 5 stars. We saw
Yeah.
there's
to like put it
not
into more context though. It's the Country Team is like a translated name of a team comp that is fairly popular in China. Like to slow it down a little bit, it's Zhangling with any spear really, preferably Homa, because she's on field. She's gonna be doing the most damage for sure. And then you run Xingqiu and Chongyun, so you have 3 leeway units with a Bennett on the field. So they call it the Country Team because leeway is the representative like in-game region for China. So yeah, that's kind of where it comes from and stuff like that. Like the whole premise of it was that Diluc had been running into like he's running out of favor really quickly in China, so they were looking for replacements for him, and they found that Xiangling actually did more damage than him in under the right conditions. So they just threw together the team that could make it happen.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was just double down with Turbo, although CN has not picked up on it as far as I know, but the 4-star high cons experiments continue. Maybe there's another shell that is powerful. Country Team is definitely one of them though, so if you have those characters, definitely try it out. Quite powerful.
It's I don't know, yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. The Chinese meta is typically a little bit ahead of us. Occasionally we'll find something and findings will bounce around between the two communities, but by far China is doing the bulk of like weird discoveries and weird rotations and stuff like that.
Yep. It's not competition though, thankfully.
No. There's not too much interaction between the two sides of the community. KQM and yeah, pretty much KQM, and I know Mathlos does a little bit. Mathlos does Jinx's server does a little bit of theory crafting, but yeah, for the west side, for the English-speaking side of Genshin, Jingmains is probably the largest community still.
Yeah, 1010 is our only look into NGA, really. He's the only one who browses and finds interesting things for us to look at. And Country Team was the first one this month that caught his eye.
So, moving on though, what else do we have?
All right, moving on. Doug Strike.
Oh boy. And this is the other
Let me
one.
just pull up the dumb clips about this. So,
Dumb, he says.
So, another like tech mechanic or whatever that the NGA, the Chinese like equivalent of Reddit, really harped on was that something called Dragon Strike, like when you translate the name, but
Yep.
the whole premise is that you could auto attack, but in the middle of the hit lag for the attack, you could dash and jump, which would cause you to jump a lot higher than normal, and you could initiate a plunge attack like immediately after. So what that ends up looking like, let me pull it up. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
What it ends up looking like is something ridiculous, like this on stream. I'm showing you now. Where some characters, and it opened up like an exploration to like a lot of different other characters, where skills and attacks with different hit lag could be abused to go straight into a plunge attack. So here's an example, an extreme example of assisted input dialect. Just
assisted input.
so.
Yep.
I mean, this was like a multi-week project / event in the server where it was basically like, will it blend except will it Dragon Strike?
Mm-hmm.
Every character was pretty much run through the gauntlet of pretty much their entire auto attack string to see whether or not it was worth it or whether or not it was like even doable. And in the end, characters like Diluc and Noel were really the strong winners of this one. Their motion values actually increased by a substantial amount. I know Noel's was calculated to be around like 28% damage increase or something like that, something ridiculous like that.
Yep.
It's
Luke pretty crazy.
With Vape and Melt also doing a lot more damage because he can actually melt plunge. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No ICD on that.
And post that link, of course. And then if you want to read our page on it, here you go. We also have Noel doing a very similar combo.
Yep, this is me performing this manually. It is possible to do manually. I had gotten quite consistent at the no burst version, but
just, be a little aware that Yo-Yo is definitely looking at this. They're assessing whether or not it's worth their time to fix right now. So,
yep.
How hard is it on Delik? Delik actually has quite generous hit lag on his first and third E. So from what I've been told, that it's not too bad to learn how to do manually.
Yeah.
It's significantly easier with Anemo Resonance and things like Diona Shield that increase your movement speed. So.
Yeah. The hard part about Dragon Strike isn't really getting the timing on the hit lag. It's more the fact that without Anemo Resonance, the problem is with the inputs. You have to dash on one frame and then jump on the very next frame on the spot. Otherwise, the trick fails. And if you don't know what every variation of the fail looks like, you will have no idea what you're doing wrong. So you have to be aware and look really closely at what your character is doing during the animations.
It was I mean, in general, it was. I personally did not like it at all. I despised anything that had to do with it. I still do, honestly. I think not that I have anything against like people learning how to do it. I know I've learned how to do it myself, but it's just it was just so mind-numbingly like boring. It would just consume theory crafting chat for literally like a week. Oh, it was just not that interesting. Like we got funny images like the Deluxe one where he does it on every single one of his E's and stuff like that, but in general, like it just was not that interesting.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an MV increase. So it was just if you weren't like trying to like grind it out and like post about it, hey, I got 70% consistent today or something like that, then yeah, it was kind of like whatever.
I mean, it's one of the ways we make our own content.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not for everyone.
God knows what you'll find next.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we found, next thing is something we found and lost shortly after. TCF.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's been 10 days since you could TCF, but something you might know it as a double E on Kaching, where you could do the thunderclap slash and then blink through the dagger that had already exploded. And this was a pretty substantial damage increase for Kaching. I know Michael B has like a 9-second run of Kaching with this combo. Sadly, it is no longer with us. Mihoyo did not appreciate this one for very long. So, just goes to show you that despite us finding interesting stuff, if you're not on your toes, you'll miss out on it. A flash in the pan.
Yep. Very sad. And hopefully Dragon Strike is too big a pain in the ass for them to fix. Because who wants to remake an entire physics engine? Hopefully. Please.
That wraps that one up as well. Not really much to say. It just
And our
got patched
Yeah.
really fast.
It's like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you know about it, cool. It's like it's not possible anymore.
I think I should have footage for vape as well.
all right. Yeah. So our next topic is super vape, which Mihoyo has addressed and they know is an issue, but it's an interesting mechanic. If you guys want to go into that.
Yeah, so to address what super vape is let me pull up my game to show you. The bonus on overload damage for Crimson Witch of Flames or Thundering Fury, where overload damage gets increased by 40%. Normally, these bonuses for transformative reactions like Overload, Electrocharged, and Super Contact are significantly higher because transformative reactions just don't scale as well as amping reactions like Melt and Vaporize. So you can see here in the Crimson Witch of Flames set that Overloaded gets 40% and then Vaporize and Melt get 15%. What was happening is that because you could apply Electrocharged to enemies, and then apply Pyro to an enemy. What would happen is that since you were applying Overload, Electrocharged, and Vaporize in like the same tick, the game would calculate the damage of Vaporize with the 40% damage bonus from Overload. So, it still does that, technically. So, yeah, you can still use this to increase your damage by a ridiculous amount.
Mm-hmm. It is quite absurd when someone pointed this out in the Discord during the madness of all of the other previous discoveries. Just out of nowhere, we found an NGA thread discussing it, pointing it out, and we didn't believe it at all. We thought it was a troll, and then we looked at it, and we were all cackling like supervillains, and then we did that to Super Vape stream
What the
right after. That was quite the night.
Yeah. So if you were curious what it kind of looks like, it's well, I mean, it's what child maidens were used to call fireworks, or they still do, rather, where basically your reactions kind of just look like this, where you have electrocharge, vaporize, overload all at once, and then
Yep.
you just get a crazy amount of numbers on in the game, and then your vaporizes they just do an insane amount of damage, stuff like that.
Yep. Very high team damage with close enough to melt multiplier. And it's broken, and they're going to fix it. Use it while you can. Do
Indeed.
not spend resin around it. That's about it, honestly.
All right. I think that kind of concludes thoughts on 1.4. In general, it was
1.3.
a couple 1 cool character, or like a couple cool characters. The story wasn't that great, but it was very, very eventful on the TC side of things. We had a lot of new discoveries. A lot of things got put on the cutting board, but I think it was pretty cool, at least on our end.
Yep.
So not a bad update. So I think let's go through some questions now. Just from the chat. May have missed some.
Do they even have questions?
I don't know.
There's some. Can't they just reduce hit stun slightly? The problem with hit stun is that gets factored into DPS. So if they change hit stun across the board, that's gonna change the balance a lot. And also, I really hope they don't do that, because then we'd have to recalculate everything with new MVs.
Are we
The-
sure that that's a deliberate mechanic that they implemented versus just an engine quirk even?
I'm pretty sure it's an engine quirk. There's almost no
Yeah.
other way to explain it. It's definitely not intended by any means. Like, you
Yeah.
logically think about what is required to do it. You have to dash as the like while you're in the middle of hit lag, and then
Yeah.
jump immediately
Oh
after.
no, not DS itself. I mean like
Oh.
hit lag existing. Like, do we think that they intentionally made hit lag be a thing? Or
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it
of course.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
the game files. It's in the game
Yeah.
files.
It's
Okay.
the like, if you have access or have ever read any of like the game files that have been extracted or whatever, there's a very deliberate amount of hit lag that is added to certain attacks. It's a game design thing that is intended to make the game feel more weighty, where so like claymores will have larger hit lag. Technically it'll slow them down, but it makes their hits feel like they have weight.
Yeah. And they can't just reduce it because it's also like part of DPS, and I'm sure they are also monitoring DPS, and they don't want to accidentally like raise the ceiling of characters just out of nowhere just because they want to fix Dragon Strikes. They're probably trying to come up with a cleverer solution. And the other problem, they can't just tweak the plunge damage, because then they'd be technically nerfing characters, and that is a very sensitive area in a gacha game. So I don't
Honestly,
think...
what they'll probably do is add some sort of input lockout to the dash so that you can't jump immediately afterward, which won't affect anything practical besides for Dragon Strike.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's already
Although-
a thing. It's already a thing that we know that they can do. Specifically for Ganyu, it was discovered pretty early that there's a weird charge shot lockout for entering game mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
why you can't do Chill Day's arc
Mhm.
on Ganyu.
Yeah. the other thing. Yeah, I can see them doing that. You just have to hope that it's not going to be so clunky that it's going to ruin normal gameplay, and then we have the stupid
I mean,
environmental
I'm
damages
pretty sure
over
they can be
Toon's
pretty
situation.
selective about it. Because
Yeah.
I know Kaching's is also patched out, but feel any particularly more clunky, or at least nobody plays her so that nobody's noticed.
Yeah. Randomizing hit lag is I don't.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Yeah,
It's
that's
possible, but amino and movement speed will extend your window for those inputs anyway, so the randomization window would have to be so big that it would affect how the game feels to normal players who
Absolutely, yeah.
aren't using the tech.
yeah, like that's the problem. Like this is like they made it so that you can dash out of end lag or most things, and if they mess with that, they could make the game feel less clunky to people who are not. They have nothing to do with Dragon Strike. Like that's the situation they have. They're trying to tiptoe around this without
I mean, I don't
damaging the
even think they
casual
really
experience.
care about it that much, to be honest.
Yeah, but considering their TCF reaction, maybe they do, but I'm not sure how far they're willing to go.
I mean, they specifically mentioned that they're looking into it, and if they decide to patch it, they would tell us.
Yeah,
Not really much to say about it, anything other than pure speculation.
yeah. Just hopium abounds.
Right. Next question. What do you guys think Dendro will be as an element? Like more support or
I have no
DPS?
fucking idea.
What?
I'm gonna go with that same answer. I have no idea what Dendro would be like. We've seen
Yeah.
Burning with the Dendro Sandwich and their infinite Dendro aura, but beyond that, we really have no clue. So I don't really bother speculating. There's not much of a
Yeah,
point
none
to
of
it.
us are really on the speculation side of things. We just work with what we have and break things.
The only thing we're going to be speculating on is Abyss Stonks, so look out for that. But otherwise, no.
Here's a question for Dendro. If the effect of the aura stays the same, like the element as it's applied to a target, we have a pretty good idea what that's going to mean for at least fire interactions. It's going to burn stuff for a lot of damage.
That's totally just gonna grief every other reaction for fire, though. I can't say it'd be too useful if it could proc, if it steals your vaporizes or melts. Quite a still a pretty large profile of like pyro. I'm like positive they designed the game around it, or intentionally put things in character kits to specifically limit like your vaporize and melt procs, like Klee's Q and Hu Tao's Blood Blossom.
Yeah.
All right.
Self-balancing.
Next question. Can we ask about leaks? We will not talk about leaks on stream.
No, they're too sensitive a topic, and as you will have seen on YouTube, there has been quite the big crackdown on them, so we cannot talk about them here. Sorry.
That and it's I mean even if MiHoYo allowed it, I probably wouldn't even entertain it. It's just way too early. Like anything that I say now would probably be changed in about a week.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
In our last question before we move on to 1.4 stuff, are Venti stonks going to drop even further in 1.5 Abyss? We don't know anything about 1.5 Abyss. So
Nope.
5's like
no.
12 weeks?
It's
far away.
It's a long time away. We got no clue. So
Mhm.
all right. 1.4 now. We got past our recap of 1.3. We'll start with the quality of life stuff. Condensed resin cap to 5. I think we can agree this is a nice quality of life change.
Mhm.
Spiral Abyss reset button. This is a pretty big quality of life change.
Fine.
Best
Eh.
one, honestly.
We've been waiting a long time for it. Makes speedrunners' lives easier. Makes normal Abyss runners' lives easier. It's just a good quality of life update. Probably should have been there earlier, but I'll take it now that we have it.
Yep. For sure.
All right. And preset cooking characters and manual cooking. I don't think you guys do very much cooking like I do.
No, I
So,
don't do cooking.
so
Although,
not super relevant. It's a nice small change, right? Just having your preset
Yeah.
character ready, so don't have to switch to your specialty food character, whatever, every time. But it's nice. Nothing too stand out about it. But it would be nice if we had a preset character for crafting stuff too, so I don't have to switch to Xingqiu every time I want new books or
yeah.
or sucrose for any open world materials. But that's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's talk about banners.
Mm.
Venti rerun. So historically, how was he?
Oh god, does he need any introduction?
Well,
Yeah.
some people may not have been around for the early days of Venti, so let's go over kind of some highlights of just how much Venti meant early game back in the early days of the game.
Oh man. Early game Menti is let's just say early game Venti basically made your life easy. Not many things could hit things in his ult, but if things were in the vortex, they couldn't hit you. And if things couldn't hit you, it made High Abyss so
Well,
much easier.
and I mean, what was the immediate follow-up banner to Venti? Klee, right?
Yeah.
And what's one of the only characters that can consistently hit stuff in his vortex? Klee.
Yep.
That's
He was-
perfect early AR synergy.
Uh-huh. And floor 12 was like monstrously difficult for most of the player base, so Venti was quite good at the start, and he just didn't fall off with the Abyss changes because there's still stuff he can suck. And then he only started falling off, honestly, the last patch when they started putting the heavyweights in. So he started becoming less good in terms of safety, but he still has his application, the swirls, and the energy economy. Good MVs.
He's by far and away still the best character they've ever released, with
Mhm.
and without constellations. It's just
Yep. No question.
there's just not really any argument you can really make besides that he's not particularly useful right now in the Abyss, but not as if he's completely useless. You just have to think use him now.
Yep.
All right, and on that topic, now that we're talking about him currently, how valuable is he now, and especially now that we're seeing pretty much like all the characters being released being on-field main DPS characters, how like why exactly is he still so high value, even nowadays when it's a big enemy Abyss right now?
Because he's
Um,
unintrusive.
Like the thing, like the thing about Venti is, yeah, he kind of griefs your team for 8 seconds if you don't have anyone that can hit anything in it. But if you think about why that's the case, like he's literally CCing anything in the room that can be lifted for 8 seconds. The value in that is just incredible. There's not anything like it. The cooldown is pretty much irrelevant. The energy economy on him absolutely it makes it almost completely irrelevant on any other character. There's not really any reason to say that he's bad or anything like that, other than he can't brainlessly use him right now, the Abyss. But even then, he's still the best unit to have for floor 11. I mean,
Huh?
what else? What else can you really say about him?
Yeah, it's just like
He's still definitely on the must pull list, but like when we look at things differently, I'm beginning to take on the contrarian of position that I think that Zhongli might be a better pull for certain players. Between the two, I think that Zhongli offers the safety and comfort for like a lot of players, like whales and free to play and dolphins alike. And his value on mobile is just too great to overcome, honestly.
yeah, for people optimizing for speed, Venti wins hands down, but comfort Zhongli wins just out of this world with this new shield and the geo changes combined. Just make him quite efficient for that purpose.
And I just want to highlight, it's really hard to quantify how much additional DPS you glean by having a big, fat, juicy shield and just being able to stand and fire. You just stand and damage. You just do your damage rotation. You just unload all your burst. Whereas with a non-shield comp, you got to dodge out of that shit. You got to mind your positioning. You lose DPS when you do that stuff.
Mm. Even though it technically reduces your ceiling by running Zhongli, just by the numbers, but you're gonna get that number back just through the invisible methods that Pinupsky just described.
Fuck is that noise? Don't I'm gonna murder you.
It's a one-off.
Okay, so next thing we'll talk about the weapon banner a little bit. There are 3 new weapons: Elegy the End, Alley Flash, and Wine and Song.
Oh wait. Actually, go back to the Venti banner.
Back to Venti? Okay.
Yeah. So this banner is like actually horrible. Okay, Sucrose, Razor, and Noel. These 4 stars are just not that useful for the average player. Okay. Don't feel bad about not pulling on this banner if you picked up a Zhao, a Ganyu, or a Hu Tao. Honestly, you are not looking for, unless you're digging for a C6 Noel. I honestly can't really tell you how, like, I don't know, like, unless you really like Razor, looking for C6 Noel, or looking for like a C1 Sucrose, this is just not the banner to pull.
Yeah, if it's not C1 Sucrose or C6 Sucrose, I guess, if you care about the damage boost. But I think a lot of people who are fishing for C6 Noelle got most of the way there on the first time she showed up on banner. But
I would say,
yeah,
like, if you're on guarantee or have like high pity already, yeah, might as well just go for it. Like Venti's
yeah,
not like Venti's value is enough to make it questionable to pull on this banner, not like bad. So there's a value in that. And then like if we compare it to like what we're gonna get in the future, there's rumors coming around. Well, first of all, it's confirmed that Child is gonna be the next banner. Not the most ubiquitous unit compared to Venti or Zhongli, but his banner will have Rosaria, a new 4-star unit, so it's always that kind of fun. And then beyond Child, it's an unknown, pretty much, but there are rumors flying around that Zhongli will be making a return pretty soon. So, no,
yeah,
Zhongli is something you gotta consider about picking up, honestly.
yes, for the reasons mentioned before.
Alright.
Comfort bit.
We can move on now, Flemmy.
Now we'll move on to our weapon banner, our first one of this patch. The new weapons would be Elegy the End, Alley Flash, and Wine and Song. And the other 5-star weapon is Skyward Blade. Other 4-star weapons are Favonia's Bow, Favonia's Greatsword, and Dragon's Bane.
What to say about this banner?
Just skip it. We don't need to.
It's dog shit. Like,
Yeah.
that's the simple. Unless you already know, like, again, how do I put this? If you have to ask whether or not Elegy of the End is worth it, you are not ready for Elegy of the End.
Yeah.
That's like the easiest, maybe a little toxic way I can put it, but this banner is a very hard one to recommend for a normal player to pull on. Elegy of the End is not a damage increase for the person that's holding it. It is probably the best support weapon in the game right now. Whether or not you know what support value it offers, whether or not you know if it's good or not is kind of pretty relevant to whether or not you should pull for it. So I would say if you think you know what you're doing and like Elegy, sure, go ahead, pick it up. Try to pick it up. But honestly, like Gower Blade, not too useful right now for any carries. Its best user is probably like a Jean or a Bennett. But then again, Akila's probably just a straight up better option. Alley Flash, is it a Bennett sword? That's about it. If you
Bennett sword.
you have a Festering Desire already, like, yep, Alley Flash is not that big of an upgrade, if at all. It's passive requires you not take damage for 5 seconds, which isn't too hard to maintain, like for an off-field unit like Bennett. So, yeah, it's okay. The Elemental Mastery is just not good. The base attack is great, but yeah, you probably don't want to pull just to pick up an Alley Flash. There's not that many characters that can use it.
Wine and Song is... I do
This
not
thing's garbage.
understand
It's
who
garbage.
I don't understand who it's for.
The only person that could really, I think, be for is Mona.
Why not just run
tap.
with Sith?
I mean, yeah, at that point you could run with Sith, but if you don't have with Sith for whatever reason, right? There's a lot of reasons you wouldn't have it, but it's not a bad choice for Mona. ER boosts her Hydro damage as well, thanks to her passive, and 20% attack doesn't hurt just by tapping Sprint. So it's not a bad choice on her. It's a decent weapon, base 44 as well, but I wouldn't go out of your way to pull for that.
It's just way fucking overshadowed by Widzith. This thing's just not worth it for Mona. I wouldn't go hunting
is
for
just
this either.
Too good of a 4-star weapon, I think, for really any new catalyst to be competing with it. So we may in the future see one that's better, but I'm doubting it. So Wine and Song is kind of mediocre. I think it's just in conclusion of our first set of 1.4 banners. They're both looking generally like skip unless you really want Venti or you're set on getting Elegy of the End.
Yeah. The other weapons, Dragon's Bane, very niche. If you are not in the vape
don't have a
span
Hu-Tao,
squad,
honestly. Just skip that. Not pick up a Dragon's Bane unless you have a Hu-Tao and you can't get a deathmatch or you're using it on someone. Fab GS, very niche. You could probably use it on like full supports for battery. I know Noelle can kind of use it, but you lose like literally like 20% of her damage ceiling or something like that.
Yeah,
Favonius Warbow is like Favonius is actually quite good, but you get a free one, so I mean, you're not really digging for refines on this thing, so
yeah, it's whatever. So it's like everything here is very low impact out of Elegy, if you can find a spot for it that makes sense. So
yeah, one thing hey, go ahead.
If you can roll for it and you want it and you have a spot for it, play reaction teams, and you don't think you want any other weapon that could maybe be introduced that is better for you in the future, because it has the passive at the end that says exclusive with other weapons of this type, then maybe don't roll. But if you can think of a place, you want it, you play reaction teams, go for it.
One highlight, in my opinion, of the weapon banner is all the 3 new weapons, Elegy the End, Alley Flash, and Wide Song. I think they look very good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Aesthetic wise, Elegy is a very clean looking bow. Alley Flash and Wine and Song are on the darker end of weapons, but they look very good.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I'm a fan. But
But
that's
there's not really anything on the horizon for
there's
the weapon banner to be, very exciting. ARP is supposed to make like a rerun pretty soon, but we still need a Skyward rerun, and Aquila's ahead of it. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're not looking too hot for the weapon department right now.
Unfortunate.
Alley Hunter, the other alley weapon for this event, the bow, is actually looking pretty strong. So if you
Yeah.
need one of those, get this weapon banner.
Mm-hmm.
now that we're done with banners, we can look through for questions a little bit before we get into 1.4 events and gameplay. What about Windbloom Ode? We'll get into that later. Or unless you guys want to get into it now.
The question's been asked. Fine.
All right, yeah. So,
If you do not have a string list, it's fine. Or actually, it's probably like a really easy weapon to use. You can throw around the theoretical calculations about Prototype Crescent being better than it, but like, I don't know a single person in this game who doesn't have a string list, who's running around with an R1 Prototype Crescent that headshots an enemy and then casts his abilities and switches off. It's just not real. So it's pretty good. It actually applies the attack bonus on cast, not on damage, so I believe it should snapshot. But
Yeah.
no, we'll have to see.
Yeah,
Oh.
it is. I heard it was slightly mistranslated. I'm not certain. I know. I saw some charts for official, and it went from the lower end to the higher end once it was discovered. So I think it had something to do with snapshotting its own boost, so to say.
Yeah. I mean,
Alright.
it's a pretty strong pickup, it's gonna be free, and the levels are gonna be cheaper. So yeah, if you don't have a string list, might as well just level it up. Honestly, serve you for the time that you need it for.
Yep. A free weapon with free refinements is nothing to complain about.
Of course,
I
to
don't
use it
think
for the extra.
I don't think it stands
reward.
out, but I mean, I'll take it. Why not, right?
Yeah, it's not festering desire, but
But
it's free. Yeah.
Good to
okay.
have a festering every patch. For every event.
All right. So let's talk about the Windbloom Festival, or our event for 1.4. I can start off, and I will say I'm already liking it more than Lantern Rite. Just because early on, it's not feeling as tedious to me. The events I've enjoyed, Rhythm Game I feel was a little bit awkward with at least with button placement, right? They have WASD and then IJKL, so it seems like a mobile kind of designed event for me. The balloon event, archery, is fun to me because I like playing more aim type of games. And I feel like I'm missing an event here. The gliding event, the one where you have to go collect stuff. I don't think there's too much special with that. It's okay.
Just the Fall Guys clone.
No, Fall Guys we'll get to later. That's as more of a bigger event kind of. So we'll get
I mean,
into
it's
that.
all part of this.
You guys share your thoughts. No, we got multiple parts of Windbloom, so
Yeah. What else? There's the dating sim thing. That was I don't know. Once again, I am not impressed with I'm fine with having events that are not combat oriented or having events that are like lighthearted, but these are
Yeah.
just not it for me. Like they really, really aren't. They don't really do anything for me. I'm not really interested in It doesn't make the world feel like living or anything. It's just, I like the fact that like the characters are in it, like Venti and Bennett on the first day or whatever, but it's just not interesting to me. Like it doesn't appeal to me very much. It's not my cup of tea. More power to you if you like.
Is it just me or like Kaya keeps freaking popping up in these like freaking festivals? Like freaking Leeway one is like, oh yeah, I know about these treasure hoards. Now like Kaya's like, please tutor me, and I'm like, why is Kaya like everywhere?
He's just slick. What can we say?
He's
He's
slick,
a
but like, do I
appealing
want
guy.
to see more of him? Do I want to see more of his freaking? Oh my gosh.
I think he's
God.
plot
You know,
important.
maybe you need to cool it.
God, shut up.
Okay.
Shut up.
Yeah,
What
cool.
da?
Oh my god.
It's
like
probably
it.
because he's probably gonna be a pretty significant character in the future. So
Yeah, we'll have to
Don't
see.
mind it.
But yeah, freaking Kaya's just stalking us, I swear.
Yeah. I like the aesthetic of Mondstadt. I think at least Lantern Red did that good as well too. Just the decorated towns look very nice. I guess we can talk about Fall Guys a bit. I think 6 different mini games right now, and there's 3 more that will unlock later, I believe.
for that
Tomorrow for
Mona
NA.
and Hutao can just cheese everything. So
I believe you still have to activate the tiles to actually exit it, so I don't think that really matters.
true.
So, and it triggers as I think it
Yeah.
also counts as triggering a bad tile too, so you actually just lose points as well.
Perfect.
I don't know. There's venti cheesing. That's for sure. You just hold E and float up until the tiles are back.
Of course, Venti can do that.
So are you guys telling me that Mona can activate all the bad tiles?
Yeah, she can just
Yeah.
sprint across the whole thing.
I think we just found our next event. You gotta get max minimum points and still clear the boss.
Not like the boss is a joke. It's a freaking higher righteous behind.
Dude,
just
I don't know.
random
You've done
high
it without the 40% pyro res?
I don't know, man. Just don't get hit.
Wait, one thing I think is of note with this boss is there are the buffs for doing the event, but this is new speedrun territory. I know Sanpi ran with the Shincho and did a 430k hit and one shot the boss. But it's essentially like floor 1 buffs or floor 7 buffs, sorry, in Abyss, but in open world, so you can now use food on top of that. So other than the Fall Guys event being, in my opinion, kind of a little bit repetitive, it is new territory for speedrunners who will inevitably go for the big numbers.
You gotta prep my Mona nuke.
The one thing I
we'll
do hate
see-
about it, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see Tony get his 2 million finally.
I think Tony already did a hit, but the pyro red is fine. I believe has pyro resist anyways. So yeah.
I'll have to go look at it and see that video.
Once again, I cannot stress to you how bored I am of these mini games. I actually despise them. Honestly, they're so boring to me. There's very few games that could just let me fucking fall asleep while I'm playing them, and honestly, these mini games are one of them.
I haven't
Yeah.
even started the mini games. I fall asleep just thinking about them.
It's just
I fell asleep as you guys were talking about it. Holy moly!
it's just not fun. It's just boring. Like, I don't pull these fucking characters to fucking watch them run around on a fucking field.
Ay. Yeah, I felt that same way about the stupid Lantern Festival, but
It's fun at first, but like, oh my gosh, there's no.
It
There's not
doesn't
much
have
to it.
replayability. At
Like,
all.
Yeah.
I can do it once, but like when they make us do it like 6 times to get everything from the shop, I'm like, man, is this really worth my time? Do I need an
No.
R5 wind bloom mode?
no. And I have like 3 bows better than it already, so I'm like, why do I want this?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna start filling out those surveys and just tell them like the events are dog shit. Like, there's
Like
just
the festivals are dog shit. Like
I mean, like the aesthetic is nice, but like the mini games, oh my god, like
the thing
just
is like it's not like I don't need a whole fucking I don't need like a whole combat thing. I don't need another like cube event. Like I like Dragon Spine. Like I thought the exploration was really nice and stuff like that. I mean, I don't expect them to release a region like every update, but holy shit, it is not fun. Okay, popping balloons actually like is the balloon popping one is the best one, honestly, because I get to actually do something. The
Yeah,
Osu
because
one I
it
fall
makes
asleep
you
doing.
glad you pulled Ganyu.
Yeah, true.
She's so fucking good for the balloon popping, dude.
God. Why are the big events the shit ones? I don't understand. Like, what?
I I don't know. There are some more teased events in 1.4. There's the Challenge Arena event. I believe next to Data Dupa Gorge, which is combat related, so hopefully it should be fun.
Mhm.
Maybe like the if
Yeah,
you I don't know if you guys
maybe
remember
it'll
Dragon
lock me
Spine.
up
There was
for a
that one
week.
arena with the 3 waves. They had like a lava troll wave. They had a bunch of Metatroll waves, things like that. I don't know if this will be exactly the same, but it looks like it's waves of enemies and different
And
buffs and such going
I
on.
can
So I think
only
that may be
pray.
interesting, but
Can
I
only
don't
pray
think
that
there's
it's
a very high bar set for us.
all
Yeah.
of their best wave clear content has been like one and dones, where it's like, all right, wave, wave, wave. Oh my god, another wave. This is actually getting interesting. Another wave. This is actually getting intense. And then, all right, and that's the one time I get to do that ever.
and it's over. They're so hell bent on making like short form consumable content that it's just such a bore to people that are like engaging with the game in any means.
Yeah. It's just I don't understand the obsession with making the short form content that you just have to do 20 times to get all the event rewards. Like, why?
Like there's so much downtime between like each mini game too. Like I'm sitting like for ages just waiting for the next mini game to actually start.
Yeah, I don't know who in their right mind thought making me wait for a minute collecting flowers falling from the ceiling was a good idea. But
It's honestly
Jesus
probably to
Christ.
account for how shit their co-op is, because when you're in co-op and it takes people like 10 minutes to load in, they probably need that time.
yeah,
I freaking hate the flower one. Like why the flowers fall so slow? Like I have to wait for the mini game to start and I have to wait for the flowers to fall. It's kind of I don't know, man.
My zoomer brain cannot handle it.
I already freaking like I gave up after the first one. I could not care enough.
Yeah.
yeah. Someone in chat mentioned the first event was one of the most fun events they had. The Crucible event, the one that costed resin for being in a slightly
Uh,
better ley line. Actually, I don't
oh
even know if it was
god.
better.
That one was
Okay.
like actually just wave content. That was pretty fucking.
Yeah,
Okay. Back then I had a pretty low opinion of it because A, it costed resin, and B, like it just was very obviously filler and it was just like content. But now that I look at it, you're actually playing the fucking game.
At least it wasn't mind numbing.
Yeah. And it was like
Well, I
Okay,
mean, it was pretty fucking mind numbing. Okay, they made you play that shit like 20 fucking times.
Well, not as
well,
mind
yeah,
numbing.
that was the bad part, but at least like it was a little bit more engaging than what we got in the festivals.
I can click buttons.
Yeah, or try to in the latency.
Oh my god.
You know,
Yeah.
the biggest disappointment from a development standpoint with MiHoYo has been that they introduce some promising premises and then they're gone. And maybe they're iterating on them internally, but it's going to be like 8-9 months a year before we see a rerun of a lot of this content. And what they should really be doing is leaving it in the fucking game and slowly improving it over time and giving us shit to do when we run out of resin and dailies.
Yep. Nice if I had a crucible.
Instead, we
still have
make
ley lines.
shit posts.
I think it's most sad that the fact that a side event for the very first patch of the game is better than the highlight event of 1.3 and 1.4. But we've just started 1.4. Hopefully it can improve. I'm not holding my hopes out for it, but
Oh, I mean, it's certainly better than like what we had before.
yeah, it's better than Lantern Ray. That's a good start.
But
It could
is
be
it a
worse if it
Dragon Spine
continues to
event?
be a-
Nah.
Nope.
I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully the Dadarupo Gorge like combat thing is at least some fun and different, I guess, challenge than friggin' Abyss with its same ass kill
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
My only hope is that the "we will be reunited" thing is like somehow so ridiculously godly it just saves the patch, but I'm not getting my hopes up for that.
I mean, at least I'll get more Suda-Ken voice, so like that is one thing I'm looking forward to. The rest,
Yeah.
who freaking knows?
I want to see travelers with an actual voice. Like, come on, they have to have lines for it.
Also,
They
I feel
have
bad.
voice actors and everything too. It just
Yeah.
don't.
I think
Yeah,
one
I
of
feel
my
bad.
least favorite things about these events is that there's fucking time lockouts on them. Like, it's not even that, like, they give you, like, shitty ass minigames to play. You can't even play all of them until, like, a week after they're introduced. And, like, the resources that you get, like, scale better over time, but it's not like the difficulty scales up with it either. So it's just the poor way of like dragging out like some pretty subpar content, if I'm being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even artificial time gating. It's just straight up time gated.
Honestly, I feel bad for Zajef because he's like, I grinded so hard not to get the liar. I have to wait 8 whole days, and honestly, that's a mood. That's like the one thing I was looking forward to buying, and then it's just all my hopes down the drain.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
got
also looking
debated
forward
by
to-
that. Like, I got enough currency, they let me click the fucking buy button, and then they're like, JK, LOL, you can't buy this yet.
Honestly, just
God.
how much of a nightmare would it be to play on like freaking PC? Like, just imagine that. Like the freaking, you have to click every single note. Like, Panevsky, give me a macro.
You know, if the sequence is the same and the letters are the same every time, I will write everyone a fucking macro for that because it is cancer on PC, I swear to God.
God, I just have to crack open my phone, download download Genshin, and then I can play the liar properly.
Just macro yourself a perfect score on it.
Yes.
Oh my god, not even that. Just like play. I just want to play the liar, and it'll probably be awful to play. Not gonna lie.
Oh no, dude. Maybe I'm
Honestly-
just too jaded with the game now. Already.
Someone
Well,
could just
we're-
write a
we're
web
just
app
in-
that does that.
We're in filler stages right now. I'm actually kind of upset with myself that I didn't drag out Dragonspine artificially for myself, because now it's like that was like the last real content I had.
Yeah.
I finished it all in 2 days, so like I've been without content for like over 12 weeks now.
No,
So it's
I'm like actually curious to know like what happens in the fucking story. I would 100% prefer that they just fuck off with all these mini events and just try to develop some more story or something that's tangentially related or interesting. Because the world building is not doing it for me, Chief. Not gonna lie, I don't give a fuck about random Eliway person number 20 or random Mondstadt lady number 40. So like, it really is not my cup of tea.
Like, let the books and weapons do that, and just move the fuck along, please.
Yeah, they got it inverted. Like, they're hiding all of this interesting shit in, like, you know, character voice lines that you unlock with friendship levels or books that have random snippets of lore in them. And then the quests are the boring ass stuff that you would normally find in an RPG in a random optional blob of text.
Just the
It's-
woes of having something dedicated for a casual mobile.
Yeah. I think maybe they would have been better off like making the tone like be a bit more serious right off the bat. That's just my personal opinion. Like the pressure not being there right away is kind of made the stakes very low for people who don't know about the lore very deeply.
Like
And
probably everyone who plays this game.
yeah, so hopefully we will be reunited. Pushes it in that direction. I mean, it has to, but I just hope they go all the way with it.
I think I've ranted enough about me hating these events.
Yeah, I mean,
All
we
right,
all
so
did.
as we can tell, we're all kind of disappointed, but I don't know. Hopefully, it gets better. I'm not holding that hope for it. I'm kind of a bit disappointed just in general, but maybe, maybe. But I guess exposition. Okay. Yeah, let's move on to a couple new TC findings. It's been mostly kind of chill, I guess. 1.3 had the brunt of the TC, and we're only like a couple days into 1.4. But let's I guess one thing we can talk about is snapshot changes. We talked about it
Yeah.
a bit when Doug was streaming a couple days ago. Uh, but interesting, I think, right? EM no longer snapshots for transformative reactions, so there really is no huge functional difference for anything. I feel like, but it
Yeah.
exists, right? So I guess that's something to consider. But I think functionality wise, there's no decrease for anything or like change for anything.
Yeah, it just doesn't scale up to the level a lot of the player base is at right now. So it's just, why even consider it? I have heard from some people that NGA is fuming over it because, oh, what happens if they make everything not snapshot anymore? But it's just like, what? They
I
haven't.
mean, they could. I see it as a pretty valid concern. MiHoYo just randomly changing something that has been in the game since the beginning or whatever, or rather, not like not really an unintended mechanic, but something that should be fairly consistent in their game's engine or whatever, and they just arbitrarily would decide to remove it because they released a shitty weapon. Like,
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like complaining about it now is kind of when they've made arbitrary changes to functionality
I
before.
mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's not just arbitrary. It's negative. It's bad. It's
Yeah.
strictly worse for hyperstacking for people that were actually doing things with it. Like, that's fine. I think it's very valid for them to complain about it. Like, if we didn't complain
Yeah.
so much about Zhongli, he never would have gotten changed to the monster that he is now.
Uh-huh.
So, fair. Relatively justified.
Yeah.
Thing is, I think the bigger problem with it is not transformative reactions, not snapshotting. It's just transformative reactions, period.
For sure. Yeah. That's all we really have to say about it is it's just whatever. Not
All right.
something-
I mean,
It is fairly
those are-
inconsequential. It's just
Yeah.
whatever.
as is right now, it doesn't change anything really.
Literally nothing.
Now, I think a TC finding that is very, very important.
Mhm.
Jumping up the Dragon's Spine tree.
Yes. This is
So
the
we learned you could do it with Taya, which is a tall male character model. You can jump up the Dragon's Spine tree without skills. Now, we've also seen Jingqiu jump up the side of a massive Dragon Spine mountain with no stamina. Like he just kept spamming jumps. So, interesting open world mechanic. I mean, it's pretty not intended, but that's
You
I think let's
you
just
gotta
look at it.
preface this kind of stuff. You can't just say climbing the dragon's tree. This doesn't mean anything. So there, if you didn't know, the what's it called? The I don't know what it's called. The tree, like the event tree, the
Oh, the Frostbearing tree.
frost-bearing tree, you actually can't climb on it. So, one of the lighthearted theory crafting entries that we got was you can actually climb, you can jump up it, and ironically enough, it has led to a series of discoveries about stamina and movement speed and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If you right click it, you can loop the YouTube video. I think.
Yes. Shoot.
I'm good. I think it's fine.
Gosh,
Yeah,
this
it's
guy,
just, I mean, it's literally just kind of jumping up and down.
Yeah.
this
And
Kaya buff we needed.
yes, this buff is actually kind of relevant for an upcoming event for the 40K.
There's not
fishing
really that
game.
much to talk about here. It's just a funny submission, honestly.
Yeah. I guess we'll get to that later.
I mean, the more interesting part about it is that you can jump up stuff with your stamina, so...
Mm-hmm.
I do recall him saying that that's been in the game since bunny hopping was first introduced.
Yeah, it has been. Someone said that they've been doing it since, like, the beginning, or something like that. But, yeah.
Yeah, it exists, and I think it's interesting to know. I don't see too much practical use, but I guess people find things when they're not doing stuff with resin and such. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. All right, so those are pretty much all we've had for TC findings so far. It hasn't really been more than a week into 1.1.4. I believe you guys were looking at some elemental gauge theory stuff, but I have not been in the loop very much on that.
Yeah, it's
This
just.
is totally gonna be the fucking strat for climbing up this shit, dude.
Yep.
You think she'll got them legs? Oh my god.
Go.
He just keeps going. It's not. There's not even the surface. He just goes vertically.
Yep.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. That would actually just stun me the most. The fact that that exists and can be
Yeah.
done is
Yep. Walls? What are those?
he's part mountain goat, of course.
Of course.
What's next, Livy? Hit me with it.
We're kind of on closing thoughts. If you guys have anything to say about elemental gauge theory, because you were talking about it,
No,
but
actually,
I was not.
we should talk about, like, meta or something. Something, like, spicy.
Something to get people mad.
Because
you know?
I know Pedevsky and I have, like, very distinct thoughts on, like meta and all that garbage and, like, theory crafting and all that stuff.
Oh, are you talking about the stuff from the You Know What channel earlier?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Calculated
Okay,
ceiling, power creep, like, all the delicious stuff about theory crafting.
All right, so I think, Payne, I think you should start about that because you have some opinions.
So I guess I'll provide a general recap of the statement that I made earlier on the subject, and that is sort of a warning and disclaimer about theory crafting, especially when it comes to any sort of unreleased content. And people don't realize this, so it's a bit of a PSA. There is a danger to the community at large when people do inappropriate things with initial findings from theorycraft results. If we do some math on some stuff, we think we have some data, and we say, hey, with a whole ton of caveats, this is what we have so far based on the data presented in a very scientific fashion. You know, these are the facts we know. These are the tentative conclusions we think we may be able to come to. And then you see, you know, Reddit and YouTube headlines that say, news, new character overpowered, cracked out, should you pull, must pull. And it's like, no, dude, you're harming the community. People that don't check in later on and hear about the new information we found, they're just left with that initial impression. They think this character is a must pull now. now. In reality, it released, it's kind of a potato. You've actually hurt somebody as a result of irresponsibly using your access to this information from these first impressions. So that was something that I put out there into chat earlier because it was relevant to the discussion at the time.
It's really like disheartening to see people who aren't that well versed in theory crafting pick up like an Excel sheet that we throw out there to bounce ideas off of and use it as like a justification to like attack um like other characters or people who play other characters, or like just like or hurt the narrative around a character like specifically. I know this happens a lot. I know a lot of people who have very skewed perceptions, not just because of theory crafting, but because of their even their own personal experiences with the character. Specifically for like a character like Hu Tao, where people were complaining to me that I was being a little too negative or too rough on her when like for context, a lot of people like say Hu Tao has like a lot of caveats. I know people are very jaded about this term now. Why can't theory crafters just tell us how good they are or whatever? Like this is like the exact reason why we can't do this anymore. People will take the numbers that we throw out there and use it to justify almost like anything. Um, People will take the fact that Diluc has a lower ceiling than Zhao or Ganyu or Hu Tao and just fucking run away with it. Even though he's perfectly fine, they just take things out of context.
Yeah, it's just please, please actually read into the context and understand that caveats exist and they balance most of the characters out to about the same range. Most of them. So
Also, these are ceilings.
yes.
They're not normal people's gameplay, and
Your
we're
stats will
never
literally
gonna
never be this good.
we're never going to sim normal people's gameplay because, for one, we don't know what normal people's gameplay even looks like definitively. It's not like we can just poll the entire community and find out what their typical overworld rotation is. Only you know that. You should just know that when you see these bar graphs, when you see these spreadsheets full of numbers, and they say this person has a ceiling of X and this person has a ceiling of Y, that's just the best numbers we could hypothetically make them come up with the data. That's not going to reflect your actual gameplay unless you truly tear into that information and then take pains to recreate it personally.
And sometimes that's just not possible, or there are problems that you can only partially solve, like with Zhao and his energy problems, or you can just create situations that ignore those problems with just base clear time, for example. It's just you can't look at the numbers. Just reality has an effect on the output of a character. And you can have a high ceiling, like C6 Zhao can just be outrageous and out of this world, but it's C6 Zhao. And most other Zhaos are just not going to have that output because you have to deal with all of his other caveats. His energy, his rotations, his low synergy, you have to deal with that.
Some discussion about Ganyu in the chat about whether or not she has any noticeable limitations, at least on PC. Yeah, of course, Ganyu's limitations between mobile and PC are actually quite disparate. This isn't something anybody's really going to dispute. Anybody that is reasonable will obviously tell you that yes, Ganyu is significantly better on PC than she is on mobile, but it is a fact that she's balanced around mobile and how difficult it is to play on.
Yep.
I mean, generally speaking, I don't think the premise of bow characters can exist in a cross-platform game that includes mobile without there being kind of an advantage for other platforms. That's just, that's like,
Definitely.
unless they don't aim. If they don't aim and it's just like Diablo or something, then they could be balanced. Otherwise, if you're actually aiming, PC will always have an advantage.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But I mean, that's just like a Ganyu specific thing. Like when we talk
Yeah.
about like the limitations and stuff like on characters, they're very intentionally put in the game for a reason. Like MiHoYo actually does it fairly, not a fairly. They do a very excellent job of keeping things balanced right now. With like all things considered. Fortunately, you can't control what other people say content, but I think for this community, Theorycrafters has a louder relative voice than the scientists and the maybe. The thing is like theory crafters or people that run math hold a very unique position of power in the Genshin community. They define the narrative around units and characters, and you can see what we already have seen what happens when different people have different opinions, right? So like for example, back when Zhongli was released, Jin Jinx and other whale creators got into like a difficult position to say the least about Zhongli's strength. So the thing is like theory crafting is useful to determining like just to sate curiosity, like what a character can do at like max power, or we can use some random assumptions and assume different things to try to get more realistic. But even then, the best theory crafting is born out of some level of practicality. No theoretical rotations or anything like that will ever be able to account for like how practical it is to play it in the game. And obviously the practicality changes quite often considering the abyss resets and all that stuff.
Yeah. For this reason, theory crafters generally, like, people ask us to TC characters that have been previewed or otherwise shown earlier than intended, and it's just, you can look at frame data and scope out a rotation that theoretically has a certain output that may or may not be higher or lower than certain characters, but we just can't know what caveats they have, what's holding them back, what do they need to function at bare minimum, what's their energy gen. Questions like these can't be answered pre-release generally, so
I
we
mean, it's
can't.
already hard enough to define what it is after release,
Yeah,
considering
like,
the bulk of like media that's consumed about character releases is like showcases of characters at level 90, hyper investment at C6, blah 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 blah. Like it's already hard enough that recrafting kind of has to like cut through all of this unrealistic stuff to even get to like the meat of it. It's really annoying sometimes. But
I mean, Fish was released, and how long was it after release before, we figured out the turbo premise?
4
months.
months.
Yeah, like we're gonna be finding new stuff constantly. So what we pre-theory craft based on early data, what we theory craft at release, and what we theory craft months after release are typically gonna look wildly different, especially as we add more characters and interactions and weapons and sets to the game.
And like, oh, don't even get me started on power creep discussion. So disgusting how people use that word like it means nothing. Let's see questions. I do think that the Teva Stock Exchange is a bit weird. It feels like it really should only be used for memes. Kinda, but I mean, there's mathematical distribution of like or mathematical formulas used to derive like some kind of value for a unit based on the conditions that they're being placed in. So, I mean, it has its place. It's specifically for floor 12, so, I mean, it is the hardest content in the game. It doesn't account for floor 11 or anything like that, but, I mean, it gauges a rough idea of a unit's value for the Abyss. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's flavor.
yeah, very structured and focused on one specific piece of content. It's not a general tier list, so hopefully it's a bit more practical for players than trying to come up with a general tier list for every and all future abysses. It's just seasonal tier list, air quote, for Abyss right now.
Sure, you can say that, but what does a player do with given the information that, let's say, Ganyu is great for the Spiral Abyss, but they don't have it? They can't just go get Ganyu for the floor. That's the thing, right? Like, every character is rated. Even though Ganyu is high, does not mean she's the only character that is rated that high. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's at least 3 units higher than Ganyu this Spiral Abyss. So,
Zhongling is extremely high on TSC, and
Xiangling,
everyone has her.
Beidou, and Bennett are rated higher than her. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just use something else. How do you manage cooldowns properly? You just gotta learn how to do it, honestly. Just look at what the cooldowns are in your tooltip, and then you just go.
I mean,
Yeah, it takes
that's also
practice to
kind
get
of
rotations.
Yeah.
it's also kind of guide territory. Like, there's not going to be a definitive answer for every unit in a bubble or for every comp, but there are a lot of specific comps or general ways to play a character that are covered by guides, and those will go into cooldowns and rotations and more or less point you in the right direction at least.
What else do we got here? As it stands out, it's a game of investment, so power creep and metas are barely relevant if you've been playing since near launch. That's not true. It's specifically because that it's a game of investment that meta is relevant. Yes, every character can clear the Spiral Abyss at certain levels of investment, but the level of investment for each character is never equal. A Ganyu will require significantly less investment than Jinyan, obviously, right? These are the complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of like unit value. Yeah, I don't agree with that idea at all. There's a difference between recognizing what is good and bad and being able to say what the most efficient strategy is, but there's a difference between recognizing what it is, knowing what it is, and blindly spewing it and following it. It's like knowing that like you can get a lot more value out of investing in your Ganyu or your Diluc or your Kaching or your Razor. There's a lot for people, right? You like the game is limited investment, so you don't want people to be pouring their limited investments into something that won't return that great of a yield, or for at least people that are concerned about that. I know a lot of people don't really play to clear the Spiral Abyss, and they're a lot more casual. But then again, they're not the target audience.
Nope, definitely not. Not for TSC anyway. Oh, Zanto's challenge is complete.
Uh-oh.
Over
It's time
Zanto.
for the rain
Oh,
slasher.
fuck me. Oh, no.
Man,
Oh,
unmutes just
no.
for this.
Let's go.
Yo, what material does Rain Slasher use to level up?
I can
Oh,
look it
no,
up for
check
you.
that yourself. I mean, thank goodness it's on a Sunday, right? Because now you can grind it out all in one day.
Oh, I do have resin stockpiled. Oh, God.
Here we go.
It's
best
the Mist Veiled
weapon.
Elixirs.
What the hell's that? Misspelled.
Balls? I don't know what other way to put it. And then
Bad.
and Samatros scrolls and Sisson mages pouches.
Fuck. Okay.
You. Let's go. Best weapon clear.
I have a rain slasher, right? Slash. I should have.
Dude,
a rain
watch
slasher.
Zonto have like freaking $5 rain slashers already.
All right.
I think that concludes the like the little podcast, the little tea party.
Yep.
I think there's any
We kind of already
pertinent
went over what we looked over in 1.4. Just kind of the wave event, and not really much else. Mono mentioned the story as well.
Oh. Wait, you mean the event?
No, we just wait. Is it? I don't know what the event or what's the story anymore. 1.4. I don't remember the live stream, but we did briefly mention what we look forward to in 1.4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have that covered. Other than that, I don't know.
I mean, we
There's not much.
can. Oh wait, we can just go over the server news in general.
Yeah.
So Kitching Mains just recently hit 40,000 people. So in light of that, we are running a really big event. We'll be giving away like $700 worth of prizes, welcomes, battle passes, all that good stuff, thanks to an anonymous donor. So you can check that out. You can join the server, check out announcements, and look it up. Let's see, we're giving out 30 welcomes and 50 battle passes. So yeah. We'll probably be playing a lot of mini games and stuff like that. The details on the event will come later, but one of the things that I mentioned earlier, a sneak peek, you will be doing a speedrun from base camp all the way to the nail. No teleports, obviously. Pretty much anything goes. But yeah, you'll be hearing more of that later from Doug whenever we finish ironing out the detail. Yeah. A race from down here all the way up there, guys. That's where we're headed.
And that is
Speed.
just one of the many events we have planned. There will be
Eh.
many prizes. There will be giveaways as well, so you don't have to participate in events to get a prize or to get a chance at a prize. But it'll be fun. I highly recommend you guys come join us on the server. Enjoy the festivities when they come around. And yeah,
Wink, wink. Bunny hopping up walls. Good tech. Nudge, nudge.
Then
we have
we'll also what else has happening? The Kitching Main's website has been updated since we last streamed. There should be a Zhongli guide, a Lisa guide, as well as a Razor guide now.
Yeah.
Yep. You can go ahead and check all this stuff out if you like. They're pretty nice reads. I know the Razor one is about 60 pages, maybe 50 pages or something. They're
It's
quite
Zonto, step up your game.
quite in-depth stuff.
Don't worry, I'll expand the team comps part.
Yep. Arshnosi knows what he's doing. And trust me, he's got some tech in there that I'm sure lots of people do not know about.
Oh, Venti guide, want to bring up that infographic?
we do have a Venti guide written.
Yeah, it's just
PB
not
wrote
in here
it.
yet. Dude,
Yeah.
it looks so
I'm
nice in like text.
I'm still waiting for my NMOMC guide to come up. But
Mhm.
it's it will be there one day maybe.
In other stuff, there's not really too much you can go. I mean, like, Jing Mains is always doing like random stuff. The theory crafting section's always active. Got like over 6,000 theory crafters. Even now, they're probably arguing over something. Yep, looks like some. I don't even know what, but they're
I
doing
think it's just
something.
Zajev suffering. He's like, I want to test out Child, but my child's only level 11.
No, sounds about right.
Yeah.
We'll probably be running more Teva Stock Exchange stuff. I know Zonto's looking for submissions and stuff like that. Always looking for input on that. And then the speedrun server run by Charlie, always nice. Theorycrafting has opened up a theory hunt section, so if we ever find anything that requires more people to test, we'll throw it in there, and then everyone can hack it on their own or
Can we get the freaking snapshot versus dynamic stuff in Theory Hunt? Because like I've just been chilling on my own channel and people have like been submitting some clips of things that snapshot or don't snapshot for the TCL page.
Yep. By the way, if you don't know, you can join the channel, react in the Theory README, and join our Theory Crafting channel and hang out, make discoveries, look at our work.
or not. You could just hang out in the general chat.
Yeah. Maybe learn a thing or two.
Yeah, that'll be it for our little foray into podcasting or whatever.
Before we end, if you like this idea of a theory, kind of like theory crafting podcast where we go over stuff with the patches and our recent theory crafting findings, feel free to let us know if you would like to see more. The idea we have is 2 per patch, one at the start of the update and one toward the end of it. But if you guys would like to see more, we could do that. We could arrange for that.
Yes. If we did do that, it would be when was the date? I don't remember.
I wrote it down a long time ago, so I don't have that off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can just go look again. It was like never mind, it's too far up. I can't find it.
It would be April 18th would be the next one.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, we can take questions for a little bit before I get off, but
Yep, questions, any reward requests, unless all of you burned your money on getting Zonta to use Rain Slasher.
Big mistake, guys. Big mistake.
What do you mean? It's a great mistake, because now they have less points to use for freaking 1 billion NEP ASMR.
Wait,
I think people would go for Doug
that's such a
ASMR
loss.
This is a loss. I'm winning here, man.
Well, that's the 1 billion reward.
I don't know why. It's just freaking Doug's put it up, and now it's just sitting there menacingly.
Wait, wait, how's anyone supposed to do 1 million? You need to have like a fund thing. Like
you need to be here always and never lose Gamba.
Never.
Oh god.
use this.
Wait, no, god damn it. 1 sec. We are listening to Lisa's hello line.
Thank you, Nep.
Oh god damn it. I don't think I can do it as good as freaking Doug. Okay.
Don't worry though, no one can really top Doug.
Yeah, Doug's a god.
Okay. 1 sec. I'll mentally prepare myself. Okay.
Someone
Hi,
should
darling.
We should do an edit.
God. Okay. Hi, darling. Are you going to be Lisa's little helper? What? Me? A grand mage? That was a long time ago. I'm just a humble librarian now. Don't worry, darling. I'll take very good care of you.
Ooh.
Any clippers? Any clippers?
Oh god, please,
Put
no.
the TP up to Skynail?
Yeah, someone should make an edit of like, you know how like you there's like those edits of you throwing your E and then flashing over.
Teleport.
Yeah, you should do that for the cover image of the event.
Ooh, we can just do the holding it up as the image.
Yeah, that would be probably good.
I need to freaking recover from that. Lisa was like, very Lisa me. Oh god, no. Oh, another question. Will you use best girl venti splash art for the eventual venti guide? The freaking redrawn one?
I don't know. I feel like the Hu Tao one has already pushed the limits on what we can put in.
Mhm.
What do we have in here? We have PP Tao. We have
Oh god.
we have Xing Chu's left rain sword.
Amping who?
Yep.
Can we get like
Venti impact.
yeah, venti impact?
We have where's Venti?
So,
Venti himself.
that-
Here he is.
No. Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh no, the clip,
And-
not the clip. They actually someone clipped it.
For
It's
Turbo.
over.
Oh.
It's over.
Officials toucan. Yep. The Turbo Tau.
Yep, squawk.
This
Yep.
was Toucan. I think that's the last
Lee
Toucan.
toucan. Yeah, that's the last meme one.
Honestly, we had quite a bit of fun making this Hu Tao guide, or else converting it more like feels
Well-
bad for all the Hu Tao people just in voice chat watching art just
Suffer.
add-
Yeah. Watching him suffer and then put memes to cope.
Honestly, this is our way of coping with anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just realized your mono, your freaking name is so long it goes off the freaking Discord like embed.
Oh, it
Those
does.
are damn tickets.
Yeah. People are working on it.
It overlaps when another person talks.
Too big. Rip. Well, I'm gonna change it soon anyway. So
We should have a
Oh,
clip
well.
chat on
Chat.
Discord. True.
Oh
It
god.
would just be clips of Nep saying stuff. Or me
No.
raging.
God damn it. This is bullying.
bully
Oh,
the
Ring
new.
Slasher's level 60 now.
That's good enough.
Santo actually. Oh god.
Imagine if it gets a faster time. Oh, that would be the greatest fucking. Honestly.
There's no way.
Just imagine. Sansa would be fucking mad.
No way. Alright, I'll guess it's 70. That's relatively.
All right. Anyway, now that the podcast is done, I think I'm gonna head out. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are continuing the stream or not, but I may tune in from my viewer side.
I'm gonna literally do this like one more time, fail, and then get off.
All right. Guess we're waiting on Santo's Rain Slasher then.
Just press the buttons in the right direction, easy clap.
Just do it.
I'm missing crit. Crit.
You gotta consolidate.
This
Yep.
Angles, the angles. Oh my god.
I just-
freaking
Wait,
Santo.
Wait, I hit it 117,000 without casting my E.
Oh my god.
For Robin's DPS sim, does he take any volunteers with Python experience? You kind of have to talk to him about it. I have no idea.
I know there has been other contributors on his GitHub
Yeah.
for, so I think it is collaborative, but you'll have to ask him about the details.
Yeah, if you grab the ticket roll in Kaching mains, you can actually there's a ticket just for Robin's DPS sim. That's probably the best place to contact them.
Yep.
Oh no, someone wants the Doug ASMR to be the follow notify. Oh god.
That'll be good.
Okay.
That ending.
I hate this floor so much.
Just one more time, he says. I'll leave then, he says.
Find out who to raid.
Alright, you gotta beat my 14 seconds at least. Come on.
Oh
Not
my
possible.
god.
Not yet.
Dude, Panofsky just swiped harder, okay? You don't count.
Dude, I'm not even good by whale standards. That's the problem.
Delayed alt tech, 53k.
So bad. So bad.
Alright, time to go
Not
to
Paul.
4-9.
You
I have
gotta
to
swap Zong on your team. Then you can stop dodging.
I'm not even dodging like to dodge anything. Like I honestly want to get hit. This is just super vape. It's like the highest damage I can.
Yep.
Trying to break 20 seconds at least. We're at 21 right now, but I know it's possible to go. It's just I'm pretty much crit fishing. And it'll take me like a couple hours.
Yep. Just gotta grind it out. And get the angles, as Santo put it.
No crit feels bad, man.
Did I feed my Crimson Witch crit rate hat? It's just gone.
Rip.
Doesn't exist. What the fuck have I done?
Oh my god, freaking Zonto just throwing away the most valuable thing ever.
I bet if
Freaking
I had
crit.
Mona, we wouldn't be struggling, guys. Mona
Just
diff.
swipe.
Oh,
Oh
man.
my gosh.
The Mona diff.
Yeah,
Very
Mona's
sage.
omen is just busted.
I don't even know what I did differently, to be honest, to get to to get to fucking 21. I guess I just crit out of my mind on my first attempt, honestly. Mind if I ask what made you make the Lisa guide? She's not nearly as played as other characters. So, Consume Mates isn't like the only. I'm not the only person who writes the guides anymore. We actually pool, or people submit their guides to us, and we just throw them on our website after. We work pretty closely with the guide writers to make sure that it's transcribed faithfully. So.
Yep, the man or the person behind the Lisa guide, Archnosi, is also the one you saw doing that freaking 2.5-hour Lisa run against Geodog.
Yeah, it's kind of cursed.
First, I think it's legendary.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, it's definitely cursed.
It's
My gosh.
blurst. What do you mean?
Oh my gosh, Zonto is Bell better than Rain Slasher for Beidou.
Oh yeah.
About the same actually.
But the shields don't stack, so you know one of them's already worse than the other.
Yeah, but you get a damage increase on all shields. So like your C1 will give you a damage increase. Very reliable.
I mean, you know, Bell, one day Bell will have its niche once we get someone who once we get Claymore used to scales off of HP. One day. But
HP
today
impact
is
is
not
real,
that
dude.
day.
HP impact is.
Too bad weapons don't have stonks. Maybe that's for the future.
Oh my god, so many weapons.
Is WGS being easily power crept in the future priced in? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, WGS will still have its like niche as a support weapon. But for like actual DP, like crit Claymore one day, we will one day get a crit Claymore.
We already have one. It's called
Yeah.
Serpent Spine.
True.
Yeah. Looks like that is gonna get a lot of people to open their wallets. Those claymores are just, you're not spoiled for choice.
Yeah, like out of
Being
all the
honest.
weapons, like freaking Claymores are struggling. I mean, Catalyst too. Freaking like Lost Prayers. Okay, they do have Woodsith, so like honestly, Woodsith is competitive with like 5-star Catalysts. I'd say.
Dude, the bows are cracked out of their fucking mind for no fucking
Your
reason.
freaking Skyward Harp is just a thick ass stat stick. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I don't understand how there are so many good fucking bows. Like, what?
And then like not even like a crit Claymore. Like they just don't know how to. Oh my god.
WGS is actually one of the least power creepable weapons. You can check it on a support and get the party buff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it has utility, which makes it less power creepable than normal. But in terms of being like the BAS for a carry, it is. Let's say it's not too prominent. It's not very strong for holding its spot there.
What about polearm though? We just got Homa. Like,
Oh my god.
And even
Yeah.
before that, Jade was already really good for a weapon.
I forgot
uh
how freaking Summit Shaper got freaking power creeped. Like, what's going on?
Swords just can't catch a
Oh my
break.
god.
They just can't.
Dude, if you don't have crit, you're doing something wrong.
Like, we literally had we
Like,
started
really
out with
weapon.
Aquila, and then like literally nothing else, and then oh god, Skyrider was so bad. And then the promised weapon came. Then too.
uh-huh.
Primordial Jade Cutter Page.
Primordial Sag Cutter, as some people who did not get it would like to put.
Honestly, one day we'll get a Jade Claymore and it'll become like best in slot for all
For-
freaking like Claymore carries.
For Homa to be creeped out, you literally need you need to design another weapon that like double dips on other stats. Like
Oh
I mean,
god.
and
just
it has
put
to be more
elemental
efficient.
damage.
Like HP and defense, like what do you want?
It's just
Yeah, I just
too
love
more
like
powerful.
Hale's weapon sims where it's just like the top three are just freaking ammos. It's
Yep.
ammos. Oh my god. Yeah, ammos 5 stacks, 4 stacks, 3 stacks. I can't get over.
Oh, and it can
Uh-huh.
EM first card up. So, slashers coming.
I mean, a crit claymore won't kill Wolf's Gravestone. It'll just Wolf's Gravestone will still be good as a support weapon. It just won't have any use as a
Yeah,
it
dude.
won't.
My support
carry.
Claymore carries.
Okay, well, one day we'll get a support claymore that can actually.
Yeah, that isn't named Xinium, but
My Beto support running around with WGS BIS, dude. Kidding.
keep up.
Brain Slasher still hits 10k per burst, but
And that's
Oh,
what
is
mine's
are you
doing,
trying it
Zonto.
in Abyss right now? You gotta
Yes.
stream.
I
Yeah,
have
stream.
to. I have to get the floor 12 first. I haven't done Abyss yet.
Oh,
Really?
the bell. Yeah, bell
This is not-
synergy. One day we'll get like proper bell synergy. Is what I keep telling myself.
Cool.
Yes. I also have the R5 pain.
Honestly, I freaking hate the bell design. I don't know why. I just like
I actually like
it. Just
Very nice.
Excuse me, I take
like it's
offense to that.
unique, but it just I don't like it.
The bell is the best designed weapon visually in the game.
I actually like Homa the most.
I personally, I don't know, Alley Flash looks really cool. Like, that was a freaking reskinned Fab Sword. I like the color scheme.
I don't know. Homa just
I
looks so
think-
funny to me. It's a little stick with like a fan on the top.
True.
And
And it starts
apparently-
glowing.
Yeah, it's like first director staff. Yes, please.
It's a fire stick. A firewood stick. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's some fucking. Yeah, as apparently some voice comes out of a fire and says, "Just burn everything the fuck down." Yes, please. Give it to me. Inject it into my veins. The lore is so sick on it.
Can I have another Kaya, please?
Yeah,
Have we run
guys,
through all the 4-stars yet? Like who? Like it's just Diana and like Jinyan left, right? Like who hasn't been sold? Chongyun? I don't think Chongyun's been sold yet.
I don't remember, dude.
Chongyun.
Imagine
Super
buying
hasn't
Chongyun
been
from the
sold.
shop.
I'm one away from C6. I have plenty of glitter. I'll do it.
Oh my god. I mean, I am one away from C2, but like I don't really need the cooldown reduction.
No, this is like, eh.
Yeah. Like I'm already
Honestly.
bad enough at rotations. Like I don't need to be even worse at like wasting cooldowns.
Yeah, that's the big issue with the CDR. It's like it's too hard to manage them with no off-field
Does
representation.
Qingmain have any whales? I have a C6 kind of know if his C6 increases cryo application. Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
we figured that out a while ago with the help of Hyperflick.
ICD gang.
He's not a whale though. He's a leviathan. Get it right, guys.
Yeah,
It
yes, of
spins.
course. Excuse me.
It spins a little faster, right? Or at least
Yeah.
it hits the ICD cap like quite sooner. So
Yes.
you apply cryo like I don't know how much faster, but you apply it a lot better than you would with non-C6.
Uh-huh. Let me see. Let me go find the details from Hale.
I freaking love how good like Alley Flash looks on Kaya. It's just like Alley Flash doesn't really have like it's just a thick base attack weapon for freaking Bennett because I don't have a Aquila Favonia.
You mean like this? Nope.
Yeah, but like the color just looks nicer. Okay.
How is that not level 90 and on your Bennett?
I don't really care about it, to be honest.
But the attack steroid.
I think it's like
Oh,
20
Howard.
extra attack I would get from leveling up my Aquila.
All right, how are the numbers in the Tavok Stock Exchange determined? By a formula that like puts into account like what a character can bring to the table and the current Abyss 12 and like enemy aggression and stuff like that. Zonto knows more about
As
it though.
long as the formula puts Bennett really high, it is working. I will
sounds about
adjust it until it puts Bennett really high.
Basically, the Abyss floor is tabulated out, and there's like certain parameters, and then you adjust like how well a character can adapt to those parameters, or is useful considering those parameters, and then you spit out some arbitrary numbers for it.
So it does not actually. The numbers themselves don't mean anything. It's just relative. The relative difference between each character.
And the
I
weight
guess.
matters the most. Dude,
Mhm.
someone. Oh, just give me this last kayak constellation, I'm begging.
Apparently, I'm looking at Hale's details from Hyperflix trials. So it's 18 hits over 8 seconds. And Flix trials, it froze 9 to 11, depending on the trial. So, looking from the ICD list, it looks like it's lining up better so that you get freezes right as you reset. So you double dip with the freezes faster instead of getting a skip while the ICD resets.
How close is
me-
Kaya to becoming a Cryo Xingqiu as an elemental applicator? Problem with Cryo is if you react Pyro into it, it literally gets multiplied by 2 and you just wipe off Cryo like completely. So
Yeah.
you almost always have to pair Melt with Hydro because you need Pyro not to get on to the enemy. If Pyro Aura is attached to the enemy, it takes twice as many Cryo procs to wipe it off, so it sucks.
Yeah.
That's why Ganyu is so good. You can double melt one you fucking Pyro. Jeez,
Yep.
broken.
And it's for this reason Hu Tao Freeze Melt uses Xingqiu and Cryo to deal with the reverse multiplier effectively, so you don't have the uphill battle to get back to Hydro and Cryo. But unfortunately, Diluc and Klee cannot take advantage of that as they shatter. So, yeah.
I'm curious to see how much Utah's melt uptime improves. If it does, it'll definitely improve. You'll just get more melts.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends what combo you do. If you do N1CD, you get cucked like in the middle of it. So I mean, in general, it'll increase. Like her damage will increase with C6 cap. Period.
Yep.
I had no idea Cleave could shatter. Yeah, that's why she sucks. She can't do perma freeze and melt because you shatter.
I mean,
Yep.
she universally behaves as a claymore, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has
all
the
of her
blunt property.
all of her attacks have a blunt property.
Mm-hmm.
She should have hit lag so she can Dragon Strike.
Hu Tao's potential is skyrocketing since she can't shatter. Yeah, but like not skyrocketing. It skyrocketed.
Yeah, she has a whole bunch of other things to balance her out versus those two who have shatter, making them settle for vapes instead.
We already know like roughly where she is. She's for Hu Tao's strength and stuff like that. Not
Yeah.
really that much to like know, other than like her rotation's actually fucking her over sometimes. But like, I think that's it for me today. It's been a 3-hour stream, and for some reason I am like falling asleep. Not because I'm boredom, but I'm like just feeling so tired.
I think you're just sleep deprived. I mean, like if the beginning of the stream was anything.
I think it's
Effective.
because
Look, this one has blood
oh my
on.
God, autoplay, death. It's just I don't know. I got my vaccine the other day, and now I'm just feeling tired literally all the time.
Yeah, the vaccine did knock me down. It doesn't surprise me that you're feeling pain. Especially the second one.
Alright, well, Fob is playing Mario Kart 8, so let's see if we can find someone that is not playing Mario Kart 8.
Let's see. I don't know. No, I don't think any of the Genshin streamers that I follow are playing any or like.
Alright, I found... Who do we get? We have Wintermelon, never heard of them. I don't know any of these people, I'm just gonna...
Okay.
Saw this one dude doing math earlier. Kai Lime Pie. I don't know who
Key
that is.
Lime Pie. Oh, I've heard of them, but I don't really watch them much. But
I looked at their stream and they're talking about how the golden ratio good. I was like, yes.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, I watched some of their
okay.
videos, and there weren't any hot takes. They were like takes that had evidence. Last time I checked, that was a while ago.
Yeah, well,
Does Fob interact with Kaching mains? Not that I know of.
Sometimes,
Or really? Oh wow.
Rarely, but in the early days he was.
he used to hang out a lot, but now he just hangs out in his own Discord, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit young
You're still
like, in the
small.
Kaching main lore.
Mogati?
Yeah, same.
Never heard of him, but yeah.
He was
this
the one
I-
that popularized quick swap.
Turns out he was a filthy liar. Quick swap sucks.
Kaching sucks.
Yeah, it's funny how the turntables on quick swap.
Turns out, if you just hyper invest in all your shit, you don't need to play quick swap. Everyone just does fuck ton of damage even when they're sub DPS.
Yep, sub DPSs are just
Okay.
they're skyrocketing. in
Itching
value
buff
just
soon?
because
She already got
of-
one. It's called Primordial Jade Cutter.
And then she got nerfed.
Feels bad, man.
Uh-huh.
One day
One day
we'll
we'll
stop
get
getting
5 hyper games and get quick swappers. I mean, you can play quick swap. Hu Tao. Just you run Mono with it and just one shot stuff to get energy.
Just
Yeah.
C-
Oh my
just
gosh.
C6 or Hu Tao, and then you just swap to her once a minute and press E and then Q, and then you swap off.
That's a 1 minute long quick swap rotation.
Yeah. And the 1 minute is the loading screen.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Just a nuke.
Wow, how do I do this exit thing? Okay. I'm Artesians. I'm the head of Theorycrafting at Kaching Mains. If you are interested in joining Theorycrafting or interested in our 40k member event on our Discord, check out Kaching Mains. There's a million roles that you can join up for. We hang out in Theorycrafting. Today I was joined by Fahrenheit from Sucrose Spain's Mono, an editor for an editor, a staff member for the Theorycrafting section. Neptunia, another member of the editors of the Theorycrafting section. Penepsky, a resident whale theorycrafter. And then Danto, he's just a shitter, honestly. He runs
What the
He runs
fuck?
Rain.
I'm
He runs
I'm
Rain
an
Slash
OG
on his
here,
Baidu.
man. I'm an OG here.
Oh yeah, and don't forget Fluffy. They left a bit early.
Yes, and Fluffy, also a staff member in Kitchen Main. Zanto is the person who runs the TSE, the Teva Stock Exchange, so you can bother him about it.
No.
I recommend you pinging him in general chat.
No.
He loves that.
I will not receive your
Specifically
feedback.
general as well.
Next
Numbers are
time we
fact.
come back on stream, hopefully Zanto will have your community reward for you guys running Baidu with a
Oh,
Rain Slasher. And
oh, shit,
you guys
53K. Wow.
you guys actually made him level up his Rain Slasher, his least favorite weapon in the game.
In case you guys don't know, the meme is it's the best weapon on Beto.
But it's
Kappa.
actually not.
Yeah, it's no.
Do you guys have anything to say? Go ahead.
Yeah,
There's someone to rate.
yeah. I'm just
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Okay, so the last thing is, if you want to support us, you can subscribe here or join the Patreon. We have custom Discord roles for our patrons. What else? You get cool colors when you chat, all that good stuff. You get to vote on your new roles. You get cool roles like Barbados' Bathwater, Wallet's Gravestone, Staff of Homeless, Zhao's Jade Spear Tip, Hutao's Ghost, Kitching's Stiletto, E-Girl. Get stuff like that. And all the money gets thrown back into the server for giveaways and theory crafting. My coffee's on screen if you want to support me personally. All that money goes into pools. My Hutao is C1 because of you guys, so that's fun, but I won't be pulling anything probably for another like 5 weeks till whoever comes out after Child.
Oh, you're not pulling for Rosaria?
Oh, right, yeah, I'll probably pull for, but I think I have my own money for that. That's fine. If I pull
Yeah,
Child,
that-
I'm gonna be a little mad. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm already
Same.
expecting to do so, and I'm just gonna run fireworks just to make him good for something.
Yeah, I
Eh,
probably want to pick up like a C2 Rosaria. But yeah. Happy laugh. I'll be expecting your child build soon. Your child build? It doesn't matter what your child build. You can put a fucking flower on him. The real build is what do you got on your Xiangling? Huh?
Exactly.
Yep.
What do you got on your?
Clear with Favonius Warbow level 50 child. A stacked Shangling beta.
For
Yeah.
real. Just
Honestly,
give
just
him
finding
the fucking elegy. Those are
True,
probably the
that's
best
actually
holders.
Actually, true.
Oh my god.
Yes. Seriously.
Would his Riptide flash the dot like instantly stack it or what?
Oh, God. Okay.
It's not Venti's weapon, it's Child's weapon.
Who am I rating? I keep forgetting. Someone said a name earlier.
Maybe
Mogati?
Key lime pie?
Key lime pie?
Is it
Mogati.
key lime?
Search
Okay.
KI lime pie.
Okay, I got it. Lime pie. There you go. Okay. Alright. Thank you for joining, guys. We'll see you next time. Feel free to leave feedback in the server as well. Anything goes in there, so.
Yep.
What the fuck is the raid button, guys?
Professional streamer.
Uh-huh.
There's 2 key lime pies. There's another key lime pie.
What?
Oh.
Key lime pie 11 is streaming Minecraft to 5 people.
Okay, not that one.
Oh my gosh. All right. See you on the other side.
Yep. Bye bye. All right. Finally.
See this
All right.
live reaction.